Oh, hold on. What did I do? I hope. God damn.
We live.
From where we live from?
I don't know. It ain't popped up yet. Mossi Word Clan.
And you know what? I didn't even have to use the live screen because it must be fixed, man. It must be fixed.
I told you it's fixed. Now you got two streams. We'll have to go and delete the other.
Hold on. And you know what? I didn't even have to use the. Hold on. Let's see. Because it's still spinning over here. I can exit on up out of here. Well,
yeah,
is it going to
strip out of there?
I can click
you on Zoom right now, man. We good. We live.
Exit on up out of here. Well, yeah.
Yeah, we good. Who was that? Yeah. DC Brad, what up, man? 925. What it do? Peace, bro. What my name come up as? What my name come up as in the Zoom?
Brother. It's coming up as any Red Sean California, I guess. Yep. But it's got cool. But it's got your information on here. I don't know why it's got your information on here, and it did that one time before.
Because I was just go in there. You can just go in there and change the name, Kofi.
Yeah, I go.
Hold on, but I seen your name on there. Yeah, it say host Kofi Pieside. Rock out, man. I'm talking.
All right, hold on. All right. I'm okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me.
What you trying to do? Share the show or something?
I will, but y'all can share it, man. I ain't on. Y'all can share.
Man, we just did an impromptu show, man. We ain't got to share it.
Optimize.
People gonna mess with us.
Sure.
See that?
Oh, hold on. Let me get Satep in here.
We got 85,000 people watching. There goes Satep right there.
Yeah, I see him.
Satep got his hand raised though. You ain't promoted him to a panelist.
Oh, okay.
You just made him yeah, there you go. Hold on, he dropped out.
Yeah, he dropped off. Maybe he'll come back in here. Let's see.
Yeah, there you go. What you doing? Oh, you screen sharing.
Yeah, is he? Hold on, I'm gonna promote.
Make me a co-host.
He
come in here. I can just promote him.
Hold on.
There you go. There you go, right there.
Is he in?
Yeah, he in here. He out of the way 100. Satep. He got his mic off. Now his mic on.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you now.
Yeah. Say I'm doing this still. Okay, there we go.
You got YouTube on?
What's up? YouTube on. Nah, I ain't got YouTube on. I'm in here though.
All right. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Juju and DC Brad 925. Yeah, we know Wu Dao is live. We want to go ahead and rock on out. I especially want to just get some of this off my chest. So I mean, if you can't catch it in the archive. Hold on, somebody might need to be muted. All right. Yeah, but anyway, I want to say ETM Hotel. Dua Aku, Dua Necha, Fatma Lafayette, Fatma Iwa Riri, Egungun Kiki Egungun, Majuba Iba Egungun, Majuba Iba Lakba. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors and give honor and praises and respect to the true and living ancestors according to African culture and traditions. I have brother Ini Haret Sean Calfani, boss Nicola Gullah, and brother Satep and Rob Mary Ahmed on the panel. Before we get started, any of y'all brothers got anything before we jump into this discussion / question?
Nah, man, just ready to be here for a little bit.
I guess the other brothers ain't got nothing. Same. So, go ahead, boss.
Same here. other than peace to the audience, like and share. I understand y'all doing his thing, but y'all can still like and share in the process.
Mm, yeah. Like and share, like and share.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
got
Real quick before we get going. Check this out real quick. I gotta say this. Theory is tested, verified, systemized, and summarized practice, whatever it forms of content. A methodology is a system of principles and systematic means of organizing and structuring theoretical and philosophical inquiry. Research designs are systemic approach to studying phenomena and process of events, and then interpreted them within the framework of humanity, notwithstanding class, sex, and geocultural schisms within the global African community. Essentially, philosophy is summarized theory. Method is the step-by-step systemic procedures of arriving at a theory. If the theory is scientifically substantiated, the method has to be scientifically valid, reliable, and repeatable. The primary process oriented method of the ancient world was to see research problems as processes that were unfolding in time and space. Applied philosophy examines thought in algorithmic categories embodied in rules and operations of logical cognition, correlating ontology, epistemology, and laws of formal logic. That's from Ka2, page 95. It's
page
gonna
nine.
you probably gonna come right back to something within this particular paragraph with what you're about to do.
Okay. All right. Well, Satep, you got anything, man, before we get started? Everybody else spoke.
I got nothing. Go ahead, bro. I'm listening. I'm gonna try.
All right. You might have to drop out and come back in too, Satep. You sound like a robot. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. We ain't gonna keep y'all too long. Um, ain't gonna keep y'all too long at all. But today's it's not a presentation, it's just a discussion, just a discussion, or I wanted to do something where I wanted to ask a question because I could be wrong. I honestly I could be wrong, and somebody maybe could answer, a few questions that I have, or a few questions that the brothers on the panel may have. And again, as you see the title, it says, "Is the conscious community stuck in time, and is the conscious community producing producing anything?" And people can, I mean, people know how I feel about this conscious community, and I know, um, people may say that I'm a part of the conscious community. Mossi Warrior Clan is a part of the conscious community. Kofi Pasi family affiliate, part of the conscious community. Seshuma Ani Meta Nature, it's a part of the conscious community. I'm just naming those groups because those are groups that I belong to, and these brothers and these the brothers in here belong to as well. So I can't help, I know people include me, even though I don't want to be included in the conscious community. And but anyway, let's get back into it. Again, is the conscious community stuck in time, and is the conscious community producing anything? And it's a question mark. Um, it's a tip in here. Hold on, I got it. More promote the panelists. Allow to talk. It's not. Is he in here? He done dropped off again. But anyway, why am I asking? Is the conscious community stuck in time? And maybe y'all could, can help me with this. Is the conscious community stuck in time? And again, like I said, this is not a presentation. Normally, when I'm doing a show, it's basically almost a presentation, unless I got my brothers um on the panel. And we have done a few discussions where it's been discussion slash presentation where there's slides. I always want to like to present slides, but today I'm not gonna present no slides. I just want to ramble a little bit. Ask a few questions. You know what I'm saying? Get a few, get a little insight on things. But is the conscious community stuck in time? Let's deal with that for a minute first. Is the conscious community stuck in time? For my own
Hold
personal.
on, Kofi. Before you go all the way in, let's do this justice. Let's define consciousness.
Um, Somebody look it up for me. I know I got it on the slide. I started to pull up a few little slides because we done did something recently, particularly with this topic and discussion a little bit. So I
Okay,
had some
so I'm
slides.
gonna give you two definitions.
Okay.
One, I'm gonna give you on consciousness. The other one, I'm gonna give you on community. Conscious is a Latin word whose original meaning was knowing or aware. So a conscious person has an awareness of his or her
Go
environment
play.
and his or her
Go
own
play. Go play. Have
existence.
fun.
Vasi, your mic on.
I'm sorry, y'all.
His or her own existence and thoughts. If you're self-conscious, you're overly aware and even embarrassed by how you think you look or not. So let me go to what this article, this WordPress article says, what is conscious community in the field of education. So in this article, it writes by this person, community is created by individuals who share common values. That's what a community is.
Right.
Conscious community means that the well-being of the consciousness of all constitutes is the highest priority. Implied is that nourishing consciousness leads to the best possible outcomes of all community members. So when
Best outcome. You said the best. You said best outcome, right?
correct.
Of all communities. So let's keep that in mind as we build
The best
out.
possible outcome of all community members.
Okay. Okay. So y'all remember that the best outcome. So he gave you two definitions. Community, he gave you a definition on community. He gave you a definition on conscious. So now, again, is the conscious community stuck in time? Let's deal with that before. Is the conscious community producing anything? And like again, I know a lot of people know how I feel about the so-called conscious community, and I know I can't. I'm a part of the conscious community. Whether I say I'm not, I'm still a part of this so-called conscious social media community. So is the conscious community stuck in time? This is from my own opinion, and my brothers on the panel have their own opinion and their own perspective. And this is just things that I have observed from 2012 up into 2019. And from me coming into conscious community in 2019 as an observer before I started to join any group and build uh, with this group on their platform, and me building my own platform, me observing the conscious community from 2012 and me catching up with the conscious community because I was late to the conscious community and what was going on in the conscious community. And from 2012 to 2019, and I can speak a little bit further because I have went back and looked at videos prior to me coming in the conscious community and being exposed by uh, one platform in particular that I don't want to speak on, but one platform um, that I came in contact with and watched this particular platform for a long period of time until actually I understand what methodology was, what is sound methodology, how to study and not regurgitate and parakeet what another individual is saying because he sound intellectual, speaking with such rhetoric or such logic. But from observing from the time I come into the conscious community as an observer to someone who actually started putting in work far as producing presentations on the Mossi and the Kofi YouTube channel, as well as writing articles. The conscious community is still stuck in time. And what I mean by the conscious community, from my opinion, is stuck in time from 2012 on up. And it is goes back further than that. And I have no problem with debating. I have no problem with debating. I'm not a debater, so you'll never see me get up and debate another individual. I'm not a debater. Some people are debater. I'm one who can present information. I'm one who can write articles and such. I'm not a someone who is a debater, but I like to see some forms of debate till they get into the nigger shit. Excuse my French, but when they get into the nigger shit, that's when um I can't be personally can't watch it. But debating, um, and I know we like to see people go back and forth with the debating and the you know talking down on each other and about to whoop each other. You know what I'm saying? We like entertainment. We rather have entertainment over scholarship. We rather have entertainment over information. And I'm saying it's stuck in time because the same thing that I see and I observed in the conscious community is, and some people making correct me if I'm wrong because I'm saying observed because over the last year, I don't know what's going on too much prior to what my brothers tell me, and that's my brothers in the Mossi Warrior Clan and my brothers in the Kofi Paisai TV family and affiliates. I keep abreast on the information and what goes on through them. As far as other platforms, that's only certain platforms that I'm going to watch. Certain platforms that I allow my son to watch. A lot of other platforms I don't allow my son to watch because I'm not going to watch it because I feel like it's an distraction and it's entertainment. If he want to be entertained, he can just turn the dumb box on TV and be entertained. But what I'm saying is that the conscious community is still doing the same thing that they've been doing for the past 8, the past 10, the last 15 years. Where are we getting with these debates? And my thing is with the debates, where is the money going with the debates? You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, and it goes into the question of what I'm saying, has the conscious community produced anything? The conscious community, I hadn't seen the conscious community produce anything. You know what I'm saying? And if I could be standing corrected, you can stand correct me if I'm wrong. But from my observation, I have seen the conscious community not produce. I've seen people benefiting and reaping from it. And then goes back to what I'm saying with the debate. We talk about, even when we talk about in the 50s and the 60s, the 40s and 50s and the 60s, and we can talk about the civil rights movement, right? And how we were applying those same methods, those same methodology of what those people in the civil rights did in 2019. And those same methods that our belated ancestors did in the 30s, the 40s, leading into the 60s, where in the 60s before the Black Power movement took over the civil rights. That same methodology that we use for the civil rights and it's getting us nowhere. We're using that same methodology today, and that methodology is not getting us anywhere. That same way we using the same methodology that we using, or the same tactics that we've been using for the past 10 or 15 years, and it's not producing anything. Is the debates producing anything to the community? He mentioned that, what was it you said a while ago, Sean? You said you mentioned community, and you mentioned the consciousness and community, and you mentioned something about benefiting the whole community, or what was that you mentioned in that, what it was mentioned in that definition? You still with me, Sean?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna get back to it.
Uh, because that's key point too, because that's going into what I'm saying with producing. And again, people can say, "Well,
Yeah,
I don't really don't care what no one say about Kofi," and this is my own
yeah,
opinion.
but I gotta say two things against something that you're saying, but I'll get to it in just a second. It says community is created by individuals who share common values. Conscious community means that the well-being of the consciousness of all constitutes is the highest priority. Implied is that nourishing consciousness leads to the best possible outcomes of all community members.
All community members, right? the best outcome for all community members. It said the best
Right.
outcome.
Right.
So even when that statement, when we're looking at that, is it producing the best outcome for what we call in the conscious community, or is there certain people that is benefiting off of the conscious community? Not the community as a whole. Is the community as a whole is not benefiting off of the conscious community. And what I'm saying is the same thing that I'll say I have a problem when I talk to my dad, who's a preacher, about the church. What is the church producing? People are benefiting from the churches just like people are benefiting from the conscious community. I put the conscious community in the church in the same token, because when we talk about the church and we go back to the church has a 501c. The 501c was built for them to have tax breaks and etc., but also built for them to go into the community to benefit those in the community, to help those out in the community. They do none of those. We I'm talking about 2019. I'm not talking about doing the civil rights movement and prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, when the churches was doing certain things to help and to benefit those in the community, benefit those who had just been emancipated. So I'm saying that it is certain people that is benefiting, but not the whole community. We say a conscious community. So when we look at the community part of it, it's only certain people that is benefiting for it. So what I'm saying is we like the entertainment. We like, and a lot of the entertainment is around the debating now. So that's what I see. The debating is popular because we know we're going to be entertained. There's
To
going to be
be
two sides.
to be honest, Kofi, this is where I think that we're mischaracterizing and not defining what we're seeing correctly. We're saying debates. I think that that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing is what we're witnessing are discussions. We're not witnessing debates because there's no scholarly written work that has been produced or put forth before a debate. So these are just discussions that we've redefined as debates. So that was one of the things that I wanted to mention. So if we are realistically addressing a topic, they're just talking. You know, two people or three people or how many other people that seem to be entertaining folk are just disseminating whatever thought or whatever train of thought that actually comes to their mind and putting it forth as if it's a legitimate argument. But we have to realize that the person or people that are in control of the controlling the narrative, similar to the preacher or the pastor on Sunday, is defining these things that actually don't have merit. So we need to redefine what we call these debates as discussions.
You made a key point there, with what you said, written works. And again, a lot of those that are participating in it does not have any written works. And brother Street Scholar, I didn't say anything was wrong with entertainment. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with entertainment. If you seen this presentation, no, well, actually the discussion slash presentation that we did on entertainment and information, entertainment, scholarship, or whatever. But a lot of our people want to be entertained today, because if you go back to some of these if you go back to some of these platforms, prime example, MBK, good brothers, platform that I support 100%. The brothers went back and did a whole show on seeing who paid attention when they presented all these different types of information, to see if people can answer the questions, or went back to verify the information that they was presented. No one had a clue on what was going on, what was presented, or even the questions that they asked to those in the chats. They couldn't answer the question. No one is paying attention. No one is paying attention when people are conducting themselves in a manner that they supposed to be conducting themselves. We won't listen to those that we deem to be boring. The Mossi Warrior Clan, Kofi Paisai TV, MBK. You know what I'm saying? These are scholarly groups that don't want to build their platforms off of entertainment, build their platforms off of foolishness. They want to be able for anyone to come on to their platforms and be able to view the information without all of the foolishness, without the ad hominems, without the attack, without talking about and bringing other people's family members into the situation, or even someone stroking their own ego. Because a lot of these platforms, these brothers and sisters are stroking their own ego. They want to have the one up on everybody else. They want to look like their information is superior than their information, even though a lot of the information may not be right and exact, but you still can go in a professional manner without attacking another individual. But we love to see that entertainment aspect, and that entertainment aspect, it is a distraction for those who are actually wanting to learn. And most of the people that are in the chats today, they not learn. You go back after the show is over with, a week after the show is over with, they can tell you that this brother here says something about this brother's wife. This brother over here says something about uh this brother's mother. You see what I'm saying? Or this brother stood up and act like he was finna get. We can remember those moments, but we can't remember the moments when this brother is presenting information in a scholarly way where you able to learn something, or learn something that you never learned. You know what I'm saying? Something that you never learned for, or even went deeper into the information that you may have scratched the surface on. We can't remember that, but we can remember the foolishness. But I don't have a problem with entertainment, um, brother Street somebody. But anyway, and again, just going back to what I'm saying, stuck in times. We are continuing the cycle of the same thing over and over. And are we benefiting from the conscious community? What I'm saying, benefiting from the conscious community, is the events that we're having. Is it to better our community, or is it to or is it to benefit uh a particular platform, or particular platforms? Is it about putting money in the individual pocket so he don't have to go, I hear this, so you won't have to go work for the white man, you can work for yourself. So it's all about putting money into your own pocket, and in your own pocket, you know what I'm saying, instead of taking it and putting it back out in the community to better the community. Because where is the institutions? That's what I want to know. Where is the institutions? Doing it in a long period of time. There's no institutions. We should have schools. We should have universities. We should have brick and mortar places where our people that don't have to go work for the white man, as they would say, go work for the white man and go work for one of your brothers and sisters. Where is the programs? Where the programs at to teach our people about teach our well, I ain't gonna say that. We do have a couple of programs about financial literacy. We do have a few programs about that. But even with those programs, if Sister Monique go live and do something on that right now, she's gonna have 5 views. 5 views. Financial literacy. She's trying to teach you about financial literacy. She's trying to teach you about business. She's trying to teach you about all these different aspects in order for us to help ourselves, in order to help our community, the conscious community. So I'm asking, where is these institutions? Where is these businesses at? It is the same continual thing over and over. Certain people are benefiting from it. So we have no right to you know to attack the churches or attack the mosques when the conscious community, I'm saying we because I am a part of the conscious community, well, we are not doing anything neither. And the people that has the bigger platform that able to do something, they are in lining their own pockets for their own gain. Where is the stuff? When are we going to say, okay, I'm straight, now it's time to make my community straight? So I'm going to open up a business, or I'm going to open up a school and teach people about business on how to be entrepreneurs, or I'm going to open up a university so our babies don't have to go to uh, a certain school system anymore and learn about European culture and learn about how to love someone other than themselves, or even teach them about uh, um, what is it? Lowering their self-esteem, because a lot of our kids' self-esteem are getting lower in the school system because they're being taught about someone else's culture, and then when they mention their own culture, they mention them in a derogatory way, a primitive way, unintelligent way. So, what is the conscious community producing, and when are we going to start holding these people accountable for certain things? like in this conscious community, I know a lot of people coming into the conscious community, as I did in 2012, that the conscious community was different than uh uh the community that I come from. And what I mean the community that I come from, the community, the Christian community, or the church community, or the street community, because I come from the street community as well. You know what I'm saying? I was in the streets for a long, long time, sat down for a period of time for doing certain types of activities in the streets. I come from church background as well. So a lot of us came in, well, especially me coming in the conscious community, we have this higher standard of conscious community, a higher standard in this community because we are learning about things that we wasn't taught in the churches, or those who may have been brought up in Islam, in the mosques. You know what I'm saying? Things that we may not have heard on the streets. You know what I'm saying? So we give this community a higher standard, and then this community that we are part of attack those same institutions that we come out of that is actually doing the same thing. The conscious community have scammers. We have no rules and regulations set up in the conscious community. No rules. It is free game where you can do anything. You can disrespect the elder. You can disrespect the child. You can disrespect the woman. You know what I'm saying? You can, it's free game to do whatever you want to do in this community. Scam. We let people scam us and then we still support them. If a certain brother or certain sister come on right now, we all the views are gonna go, or all the attention is gonna go over, and we have records. We have so many receipts of certain individuals scamming the community, but we still go out and support them. And then the platforms that also support these individuals that are scamming from the people, taking money from the people, they are still allowing these people to come onto the platform, you know what I'm saying, and speak. We should exile these people from out of the community. But again, we have no rules or regulations set up in this community. So it's free game for anybody to do anything. It's free game for you to come in and scam and rob people. It's free game to come in and disrespect. To disrespect anybody. It's free game to disrespect and bring people, family members that has nothing to do with it because we disagree on information. It's free game to one up another individual just to stroke your ego. Is nothing set in place for the conscious community. It's nothing set in place for the conscious community. We have no one is held accountable for the actions that they are doing. But we, on the other hand, we'll go out and we'll diss those that may not agree with us in the so-called conscious community, the church community. We disagree with them, you know what I'm saying? And we doing the same thing that the churches is doing. The, the pastors are benefiting from certain things and not putting, even though that is what uh, everything was set up for the church when they got the 501c3, was the churches was going to go in the community and they was going to take some of the funding and build their community up, which that's not happening. The same thing in the conscious community. Conscious community is doing the same thing. And again, I'm not trying to attack the conscious community because I'm a part of the conscious community. I'm just giving you my assessment of what I have seen over the last, I'm gonna say, the last almost 10 years. The same thing is going on. And when are we gonna start producing things? When is it gonna be cool for us to start producing things and not cool uh just to log in just to be entertained? So I'm asking, if there are, what has the conscious community produced? Can someone show me a university, a school, some type of institution, some type of business, some types of businesses where we are now benefiting from these certain things? Can someone show me someone's platform who is raising money for the community, because we say this is the conscious community, raising money for the conscious community and dumping it into the conscious community, so that maybe not me, but maybe my kids and their kids and your kids and their kids can be able to benefit from the things that they are setting up in place, or they are producing now for later on, for our babies and our kids can be able to reap the benefits. I'm just asking because the way it's going, it seems like when my son get a certain age or he get grown, it's gonna be the same cycle. We're gonna still be stuck in time doing the same thing, holding these people to a higher standard when they doing some of the same things that the community are the same thing that these other communities that we come out of and start to gravitate toward the conscious community because we say we have became conscious, mean we have become aware of certain things, i.e., the lies that the school has taught that we come from slaves, or we was primitive, or we didn't create anything. You know what I'm saying? Uh we didn't produce anything. Um, you know what I'm saying? So even with the religion being lied in certain types of religions, you know what I'm saying? So we have, I mean, so I'm just saying we just need to come. I want to start looking at the same thing. And I'm again, the whole thing was for me to come on and ramble. My brothers may have some other things that I want to that they may want to say, but I'm just rambling on what I see that's going on now. And when are we going to start holding these people accountable for certain things? And when are we going to make them, those that have the bigger platform, start helping out in the community by producing certain things in this so-called conscious community?
All right, so let me cut in real quick, and just to kind of clear the air on a few things that you actually made mention to, even though I was messing with um, knowledge in the chat. Anyway, I do want to say peace to everybody in the chat. You know what I mean? We appreciate everybody that's tuned in actually right now, that's following along with the discussion and have their opinion as well. The same way you can type your opinion in the chat is the same way that Kofi can disseminate how he feel on the platform. This is a platform that he's a part of, and this is something that we built, not nobody else. Nobody gave us a pat on the back or a light to shine or so on and so forth. We are our own roots. We come from the root of our ancestors. So when people say things like we know of you because of other channels, that's incorrect. We are our own roots. Okay, and this is what I mean by that. See, the stage in the early 1800s was set by ancestors who put forth work to acknowledge that we needed to adhere to who we were or once was, as far as our history goes back. When they established the need for knowing who we were and to reacclimate themselves back to Africa, they put forth an agenda to push the initiative for us to land where we are. So the coming of information became to grow at that period of time. See, I come from an era where you may be conscious because of you may be so-called conscious, which is fake consciousness, because of Sonetta, but I come from a pedigree of knowing, really knowing. And what I mean by really knowing is that I know the root of what you call consciousness stems from people who really put forth groundwork. We call them the American Negro Academy, the African Historical Research Academy. It's a bunch of names that run and ring bells in that nature that are in the late 1800s and early 1900s. These are historical academies and research teams that put forth information to help people know about their history and to know who they were in this world and to reacclimate an initiative to push agendas such as Back to Africa movements and develop things. Now, that's what I come from. That is my roots. That is our organizational roots. This is the reason why we're here today. Just because one person having a popular channel and people were used to going to that particular platform to get information and to really be entertained by that, following a YouTube subscription, that's fine with you. But my roots are from real researchers who publish articles, write books, and build things. That is traditionally what we're standing on. Producers, workers, doers, not sayers. Okay, so I want to kind of.
Wait a
Hey,
minute.
Sean,
Yeah,
you,
hold on, Sean. Before you and what's name?
No, let me
Because
elaborate.
I'm already in my feelings about something. So
Okay, but I
I'm
need you
looking.
to
Wait a minute.
just
I'm looking
hold
at
on.
something at the chat because I don't want this.
Kofi, just hold on. Just hold on.
Right.
I ain't worried about that. This is what I'm saying. The reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is because I don't care what anyone says in the chat. It's a free country. Let them tire their fingers away. They don't put no food on none of our tables. When have they bought our journal? Have they bought it? Have they supported anything that we've actually done? No. Will they? No. So I'm not worried about them. They don't do. They're here. They're here to defend their feelings. Really, at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, that's all that's on the line right now is their feelings. They don't want to feel some type of way because of the truth. So the truth of the matter is that I'm here because a group of Black intellectuals saw the importance of information that dealt with who we were, because they were tired of people telling us that we were nobodies. We had no history before the discovery of the European, and so on and so forth. We were none but mere slaves. So they took that information and it fueled them to inspire and to do things. And this lit a fire through all African Americans and Africans in the diaspora. And it led to a transcendence of information that we have, what people put forth called scholarship. Now, when putting forth scholarship is not what talkers do. Putting forth scholarship was something that was written down, printed, pressed, and put forth to people. So what I want to elaborate on, because of the question that was asked, is when you're dealing with consciousness, is this community built on, or what some people? This is why I say that we say that we're not a part of certain things, and that's how I feel. Like I'm not a part of certain things because of the things that I do is different from other people's and their expectations. See, I don't like being lied to, deceived, or misled. And when I start feeling that particular way, I immediately cut that person off because I hold what's going on high regard. And when you talk about collective consciousness or collective conscious or collective science, it is a set of shared beliefs, ideas, and moral attitudes which operate as a unifying force within a society. In general, it does not refer to the specifically moral conscious, but to a shared understanding of social norms. The term was introduced by a French sociologist. His name was Emile Durkheim, in his Division of Labor and Society in 1893. Now, the French word conscious generally means consciousness, awareness, or perception. Now, commentators or translators of Durkheim disagree on which is the most appropriate, or rather the translation should depend on the context. However, I will put the little article in the thing, but however, when we talk about the moral attitudes which operates as a unifying force within a society, being conscious is not doing it because it's not producing enough doers. So what I have done and what others have done, we have all reacclimated ourselves. Somebody mic on. Reacclimated ourselves to understanding exactly what we need to do in order to better our lives. Okay, we left the church. Why did we leave the church? What was the purpose in leaving the church in the first place? Because in the 1890s, the church then was a bunch of doers. They created things, avenues to serve the purpose. Rightfully or wrongfully, in the information that was disseminated in the church, they had solutions. Over time, we grew to understand that that was not the solution. As we kept evolving, the church became less and less doers and more sayers. And then when people started leaving the church as time progressed and started going into other avenues or areas of what one would deem so-called consciousness, they just brought the church with them. And then they infused the church into what they would call consciousness. And then over time, it would evolve into what we see today due to a transcendence of technology that would allow platforms to develop and entertainment and information to be disseminated on these platforms that would evolve from not only books, but tape cassettes, from tape cassettes to CDs, from CDs to CD, from tapes to CDs and DVDs. And then all of a sudden now you have streaming services. So here we are today in the so-called information age, where Google is so search engine is so accessible to people that we Google things that we like to research that are in our favor. We have not learned real methodology. We've lost our understanding of comprehending what sound research methodology looks like, what real literature review looks like, because YouTube is so accessible and Google is so accessible that if we find something to argue with in the moment, then that's what we use to counter an argument that's being held by someone that we're having a disagreement with, which goes back to the point of is, what we're calling debates really debates. They're not debates, they're conversations. Period. Because scholastically, that's not how a debate should be formatted. You don't just call two people in, come up with a topic and whatever. That's entertainment, and it's also a discussion inside of the entertainment. And most people don't even fact check any of the information that's disseminated on certain platforms. And it should be, people should be cross-referencing everything on every platform. However, you don't get that. You do
And you know
have some
why?
people that know.
You know why?
Because of the
But you,
culture.
right,
It's
but you made a statement a while ago when you was talking about the churches and them bringing that same church culture over into the conscious community. The same thing when you look at and you look at every church goer. Everyone parakeets what the pastor says. My pastor said this. My pastor said that. So that same concept that we have where we listen to one individual spew information, we don't go back and verify that information, and all we have to do is parakeet what this individual is saying. And this is what I was
personality
saying.
worship.
Yes, and this is what I was saying a while ago. Because this individual is speaking like he's highly intelligent, speaking with rhetoric, speaking with logic. So he's eloquently, putting his words in these different phrases. So, and speaking with these big words and etc. So this brother must know or this sister must know what he's talking about. So we don't have to go back and verify what this person is saying. All we have to do is parakeet. So what I'm saying is the parakeet scheme we have brung from the church. My pastor said, and my pastor has become the presenter in the conscious community, the favorite one. So when this person talks, all we got to do is we don't read, we don't buy books, we just parakeet what this other individual is saying off of this platform. I'm gonna stop, but I want to go back in and read in a minute, to go back and read what this person is saying, because I don't want the people in the chat to be thinking something when it's not what it is. And this brother here kind of throw me off a little bit. And if this brother's still in the chat, I'm gonna put the link in. If you want to get in, anybody that want to get in the link, because I'm seeing some other comments in
Are
the
you talking
chat.
about Baby Dad comment? All
Yeah,
right,
bag that comment. You know what I'm saying?
I
This
disregard a lot of
came left
I
field for me. This
disregard
supposed to
that
be our
comment.
brother.
No,
You see what
I
I'm
did,
saying?
but hold on. I disregard that particular comment for the simple fact that his position is a different position. What is his position? Like we don't run from anyone. So don't say that these discussions that people are not invited. Let me just be very clear when I say what I'm about to say, baby, that we're never invited to any discussion that's talking about anything that has to do with Africa as a whole. As our information on this channel serves the purpose of an entire Africa, not just to focus on West Africa, an entire Africa. And we even have American history on this particular channel as well, because it serves a purpose that goes back to some of the issues that we speak about in particular in our channel. So to that point, if we don't have a seat at the table, you want us to give other people an opportunity to have that same seat at our table, right? But we don't mind having people at sitting at our seat, as it was me on Garfield channel that was going at Sonetta in the chat and on the channel months ago. When I had my opportunities, I went at Sonetta, asking. He called me all kind of names, called me coon, told me I was doing this, told me doing that, cussed me out, called me all type of weird stuff that I would never say to him, all because of the truth. I had no problem doing it at all. So what you need to do is you can go back and look a few months ago at some stuff where Garfield was like, oh, I got to stop it, whatever. And you can ask people that been in the chat, that was in the chat rooms on Garfield channel when I actually did that, when Sonetta was right there. So that I'm not, and that wasn't to be on his channel. We're not trying to be on his channel. We're not trying to get publicity from his channel or anything like that. The point of the focus of this is the actual research question, which is the conscious community stuck in time, and is the conscious community producing anything? The answers to the question is we are stuck in time. Well, some people are stuck in time, the majority. And the majority of them are not producing anything. And to Kofi's entire argument is there's only a circular few that are benefiting. Like I said, we have allowed and this is everyone's problem. So I said we have allowed people to not be held accountable for the things that they actually have said on Sonetta's platform and other platforms. Period. We haven't held them accountable because of personality worship. And that is one of the main problems. Also being understudied. True Story, for the last few years had been running shop about the early 1900s. He been going crazy with that information. Him, Sanel, Peace to Sanel, and MBK as a whole been trying to educate people on the last 100 years per se, or the last 400 years per se, specifically speaking. And we've swept all of that under the rug. It's like, a lot of the information is non-voided. Why is that? That's some of the most critical information that is important to us adhering to today. And yet and still, we allow it to go on. Just my point is this, is that I've asked Danny to put True Story and to put his book out because he has information. He's too well researched to not drop a book. And every last one of his sources and the teachers and the great people that he presents, they all wrote and published books. And he knows this. And the more sources he gives me, the more I read and the more I be like, come on, dude, you got way too much information in your head to let it stay in your head. So if some bad accident happens and we can't get the information out of your head, how are we going to stand up on it? He has to put a book out. We got to continue to try him on that. Every time he speaks, we should be at his neck like, yo, what a book, what a book, what a book. You know what I'm saying? And other great minds, because that's what scholarship is. It's not lecturing us or just going here and presenting and there and presenting. It's not that. It's written work as well. It's that plus the written work. It's the things that we know we can verify. He has access to a lot of primary resources that are valid, and that's why I make the argument about it every time that the word scholarship come up. I say, us presenting information and knowing things, we're disseminating information. We're not scholars. We haven't reached the level of the forefathers. And just to be quite clear, YouTube is not the forefather for consciousness. That's where everyone's ignorance begins, is that they think that this era of information is consciousness. It's not.
Yeah, fact. That's a
The
fact.
era of consciousness precedes the internet, precedes it. The entertainment is cool. We love it. We laugh. You know what I'm saying? We get up there. Back when SETI was in his groove and he would get us all hype and rah-rah, the white man is the devil. Look at them. They ain't built like us. They got bad spirit. All the rah-rah stuff. That was excellent. But a real student graduates. They don't stay at elementary school.
Facts.
So just to be clear, the conscious community goes but predates the YouTube era. This is not, it's two different ballparks. So they had this argument before, Brother Danny and Unc on Garfield's channel one day. They was talking about the beginning of the conscious community. And, and I was on a channel with them as well. And one of the things that there was two different arguments being had. There's one that was spearheaded by the current conscious community. I think that's what these people in the chat who are arguing, I think they're a part of what's current. So they don't know anything about what predates that. Right. So and I understand that, but there's that's a problem.
You know that they don't pay attention. They let you know that they don't pay attention because true historian, as you speaking about, or the family, they have already spoken this. They have already presented on this numerous of times. They have showed information, and that's right there let you know that people don't pay attention, and they're not paying attention because it's not entertaining. They're not being entertained. So it's boring. So they'll click on for a few minutes, and then when a brother is just going straight at the information and trying to get the information out there so people can learn about this information, show its sources, and et cetera, that's boring to them. They're not being entertained. So they click off of the channel and they miss out on the information. Then they come back later on in time and then they make these different assessments or make these different assumptions or say certain things that they have. Good point. And that's how it, and that's how it end up. And only one people know about this certain thing, think that this movement, this conscious movement started with the YouTube channel. And the conscious community, like you said, exists before the wave of the internet, exists before the wave of Google and YouTube. But they don't know that because they don't pay attention to it. And I agree with what Sister Juju just said.
Hey y'all, before we get too,
go ahead.
Before, I didn't want to cut you off, Kofi. I apologize for that. Before we get too far away from these origins that we're speaking of at the moment, what do y'all believe?
Put the link in the chat. Hold on, Vasa. Okay. Put the link in the chat. You go ahead, Vasa, but put the link in the chat. Anybody that want to join in on conversations, we don't mind joining in on the conversation. I want to hear somebody else's perspective too. But at the same token too, and we put the link in the chat, we ask that you be respectful at all times. You know what I'm saying? You other platforms, I know you can come on, you can cuss, you can act a fool, you can talk about the host, you can do it. Over here, you're gonna get booted off real quick. So be respected, but speak your mind in the same token. Go ahead, boss. But Sean, if you can put the link in there.
Yeah, like I was saying, where do y'all stand, or should we break this down of what comes first, organization or community? And do we really understand?
You have to organize first in order to develop a community. Right. Based on the definition that we actually given you, and there has been no organization allowed to be able to call a community. That's why I said the conscious community is not a community. First of all, it's not consciousness. It has to be redefined as something else if that's what people call it. Because if you look at the history, the real true, which was going back to my point, the real true history of what consciousness meant and what developed is you had people that organized and developed a strategy, a plan to make sure that people knew that they were African and what kind of history that was behind that.
Thank you, Sean.
This spread like wildfire. So yes, you have to organize. They took the time to organize. They, not a particular person. It was a joint effort. They all come from different walks of life. Schomburg was in the Caribbeans. You had Alexander Crummell. He was somewhere else in one part of the country. You had somebody in Washington, D.C., California, New York, Chicago. You had people, scattered out all over the place. These people came together. They had conferences. They sat down. They wrote out things. The American Negro, they Academy. They did these things. They had these conversations. The one thing that they did not have that we have took for granted is the freaking internet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I said this once, and I'm gonna say it again. Had Dr. John Henry Clark had Dr. Ben, Chancellor Williams, John G. Jackson, and going further back than that, if they had access to the internet, the teachings, the development of consciousness would have surpassed the ignorant phase that we are stuck in. Martin Delaney, yep. I don't want to leave nobody out now. Y'all know I'm throwing names out, but I don't want to leave anybody in particular that's influential in the forsake, that part of information. So I don't care if I'm deemed boring, though, Kofi, because you said something about boring.
No. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying this is what they do. This is what we're not in it. This is the reason why I said I agree with what Sister Juju said. She said Mossi Warrior Clan, Kofi Paisa TV, and MBK are the most slept on groups, and that is the reason why, because we don't deal with foolishness. We don't make our common goal is to disseminate information, to spread information. It is not our main focus. It's not to entertain people. That is not our common goal, is to entertain. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I made the statement that we are boring, because people will click on the channel to see what's going on. And once there is no foolishness and we're being serious about what we're doing, because we are serious about getting this information out to the people, and we want to get it out as clear and concise as possible without any distractions. You see, so they'll click on for a minute, and once there's no nigga shit,
Cujo.
they get off. They get
Cujo
off.
crazy.
Shit is in.
Cujo is crazy. Everybody, look, don't mind Cujo.
But put the link in the chat though. I mean, put the link in the chat. I mean, I
gotta slam it down, man, in order to do that.
Okay, so
true story. Hey, listen, Pure Black, you are absolutely incorrect. True story is boring than a mug, brother. He'll put you to sleep like Wujawu. No. Look, Sanel makes excellent points. Putting into application the methods of Elizabeth Jennings used is ultimately more important. So he's absolutely right in what he's saying right there. So what he's saying is that you learn from the past, right, to create for the future. So what are we learning the past for is to actually do exactly what he just said. We need to be putting into application the methods that were used from the past, because it is ultimately more important than anything else. That is where we're dropping the ball. So when someone says that they're conscious, then you should, or woke, I hate the word woke, but when you say that you are conscious, then you're telling me that you actually can disseminate information at an intelligently level, that whereas you know when and what methodology is being used in order to come across to another person or convey a message that needs to be conveyed. If you don't know that, you're not really deemed conscious, which would go back to answering your question. We are stuck. We are only stuck because we are not producing from anything that we've learned from the past. We're not using the tools from the past to move in the future. So that means that all this information, everything that people died for, all the things that they sacrificed to make sure that we knew today who we were and what to do in order to be a better you, we ain't applied any of those. So I see your point. But I always say, when I say this, is that I always say, well, you're putting too many expectations on people who don't understand the sacrifices that people made before us to be in the positions that we are in today. And I don't care who's controlling the narrative here. It could be 10 Sonnetters. But the community that we're calling consciousness does not have one belief or commonality. There's no unifying factor among all these different people that are on certain platforms that are rolling together if push came to shove on a particular issue to solve. There has been no solving of one problem or producing of anything tangible to solve problems. You have a small group, a collective, very small group of people who all have a commonality that seem to be against everything else on the other side of the coin that come from other places. And that's fine, because everybody's not going to agree on everything, but you clearly know the difference of information from one set to another set. And we all are like the way we are because of our ability to review literature and understand that we need methodology and all levels to solve our problems. You know, and our understanding of historical research methodology, scientific research methods, you know, all these critical points that we have been taught by teachers who all are well studied and produce things. So, you know, people think that we're bashing on being entertained. Nah, I mean, you know, football is on there to entertain. And those are the things that carry on within that. However, you know, people gonna do what they want to do because they like certain things. Like conversations like these strike people interest because, for one, it's not a lecture, so to say. It's not a presentation, so to say. It's more so an emotional driven conversation, whereas one person is saying one thing versus another person saying another thing. So there's no standards or requirements to be held to when communicating to that point.
Yeah, put the link in there, man. Go on, put the link in there. I would like to see a few people if they want to go on the panel and get your perspective, because some of these things are interesting. I hope some of the people that I'm looking at, I'm just strolling real quick. Some of these individuals get in here, because and again, some of the people that's making certain types of statements, I know, you know what I'm saying, that they hadn't really, they just started looking at the channel, so they don't know the type of work that we have produced, i.e. on YouTube, i.e. on our own website. We actually putting in work. We write, we put things down on paper. That what uh, makes us different from a lot of these people in the conscious community. We have stuff on paper. He talked about a while ago writings, putting things into writings. You know what I'm saying? Publishing things. So we have a lot of that going on. We have a lot of that already done, and we have produced a lot of work on this channel as well as Kofi Paisai TV. So some of the statements that some of these people are making, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of hilarious. Especially this one guy, I'm trying to understand knowledge and black power. He said I have no style or something like that. I mean, this brother don't even know me, and I know he ain't looked at none of my presentations or read any of my articles or anything. So I know this brother don't know me. So I mean, I'm trying to understand, because he's one of the main ones making a lot of things. If we boring, we need to do something else. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Then I would like to. I know he
Well, what
gone.
I do gonna be boring. I don't care if you like it or not.
Right.
You ain't
I
gotta
mean,
watch
I'm
it,
not.
bro.
I'm not.
I'm gonna be boring. I I don't feel the need to actually to to entertain you, because when I go back and I read the books, like somebody put in there, the UNESCO series. If you go back and read the UNESCO series, that's boring reading material.
Hmm.
It's a slow read. You know, people like to fast read. They want an 80 or 90 page book. I'm
Yeah.
reading a 700 or 800 page book, brother. Those are the books that I read, that I keep in my possession. Volumes. I don't do that. Now I read a few 110 page, 120 page. There's nothing wrong with the 80 or 90 page book. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all that, because I got a book right now that's 110 pages with some of the most powerful information in it, for William Bascom. And Saneb asked me about the book. He asked me if I had it on the digital copy form, but unfortunately I don't.
Mm-hmm. You
But
want the UNESCO?
it is, yeah. Nah. He talking about William Bascom book about the the name slipping my mind right now, but You know, I just had attention span to read a book that's 800 or 900 pages. Most people have not developed the attention span to read beyond a hundred page book. To be honest, and I don't expect everybody to adhere to that. That actually takes time. It takes people a few months to read 1,000 page book. You know, and I have several that I have actually read over the years. And to be honest with you, based on the schedules that I was working, it would take me a few months to read those 1,000 page books. But I get it. It's not going to be for everybody. Only the people that will just, you know, put forth an argument on something, they gonna do that. Like right now, I have a book in my possession that I was deliberate reading, and it's old. It's I'm still flicking pages. 1,020 pages, 1,022 pages. My bad. Um, so I have that in my possession. But you know, I'm 600-700 page books are my thing. The reason for that, because most of the time those 600 or 700 page books are historical books, and they have a lot of information that you know, I like, things that I like, and keep me where I need to be, because I'm trying to solve some problems and apply some methodology to my life to be able to be an example. So yeah, you're right, street scholars. But you know what? We kind of
You know,
glossed
tell
over.
Street Scholar, Street Scholar. What is that the brother I was talking
Hold
about?
on, no, they ain't the
Oh no, that's
street.
Black Knowledge, Black Power. I
Listen,
guess
listen. Street Scholar actually had some good questions that I can't see at the moment, but he
join the
did.
panel. Tell him
He
to join the
did.
panel.
Yeah,
Join
I mean
the
they
panel.
got the link.
Yeah,
He
join
did
the
have
panel.
some. He
We
did
got
have some good questions, but he also makes a good point. You're right. When you're disseminating information, it ain't boring. It's not that. Sean, you
right.
in every room.
Yeah, we got two brothers on the panel. We got
People just
Chakra
want to be
Ra.
entertained.
Who's speaking?
That's a tip.
Oh, go ahead, Satel. Go ahead, Satel.
Nah, I was just can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Nah, I was just saying, man, people just want to be entertained, man. They want to hear the hoopla, they want to hear the back and forth. They don't want no information. You know, they talking about it's boring. How's it boring? Because we ain't fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll get back in a second.
All right. We got Chakra Ra and DCB 925. DC 925. What's up? Shaka Ra, we'll get to you in a second. We got he came in first. So anybody else that want to join, Street Scholar, you got some questions, your own opinion, jump in. Anybody, the link is in the chat. Join the chat. There's a lot of people got a lot of things to say. You know what I'm saying? Join in, and have a discussion with us. But go ahead, brother.
I want to just start out by saying that to the Mossi warrior clan, I took my ancestry test and I found that I was Yoruba. And I remember like going around, like, because I'm usually around the Sinetta crew, and it was just crazy how like the day I get the results, the Mossi warrior clan came out with the Oya Empire breaking down like the different clans. And come to find out, I'm from the Igbo clan. And I just want to flat out say that, like, if the Mossi warrior clan didn't exist, I'd probably still be a wandering Negro thinking that, like, the Yoruba is just this one, solid group. And I will say that I agree with the sentiment that that you guys are boring, only because you tell the truth and you speak the truth. And you have to be real. Like in our community, we got to be real. Anyone that does something positive will be shot down. It just goes without saying. If you were out here, because I was just looking at Sinai to do this like one West versus one West thing, and I'm trying to figure out, if you're trying to liberate your people, why are you constantly promoting people that are just telling utter lies over and over? And I'm not trying to cause a beef or anything, but that's why I kind of stick to like Amun Ra, Dagger Squad, and the Mossi Warrior Clan, because it's almost like, it's hilarious to the fact that it's like he has thousands of people, but I don't get how you have all these people and yet you're not really like he had that what's his name Billy Clarkson on, and I don't get like what's the point of that? Like, what's the point of that? And then you have he has on like what's his name from uh he has like I'm sorry he had like Tazariak on Black Jesus Men or Jeremiah Judah, and it's like is this conscious community or is this conscious WWE? Because it's like 1 minute it's like I'm gonna bang on all the Hebrews, we don't like the Hebrews are BSing, but then they're still your brothers. Like Sean, if I was your brother and I tell you we are not African, we are someone else, how would you still see me as your brother? You know what I mean? Or like, you know, if I say like Shaka Ra's,
No.
you know what I mean? Like I look at Shaka Ra's page all the time, and he has these speeches, and he has this guy that does these speeches, which I think is his, like Shaka. Is that dude your father? Because you never answer that question. But no, there's this guy that does these incredible speeches. I don't romanticize Africa, you know, and I have to say that like I realize the more boring parts of the conscious community are the realest parts, the parts that you're going to legit learn what it means to be who you are. And that was my piece. And I want to know if you had a super chat or something, because I stopped giving a Sinetta like a couple of weeks ago because he did this thing with Ishmael Bay, where I mean, I think it was like Roy Bay, where he was talking about like we need to extend ourselves out to Africa, and he was like, we can't go out there because you know we built for the city, and I'm like, bro, does he not realize that Lagos is 3 times the size of New York City? Does he not realize that Accra is expanding 4 times the size? Is like 4 times the size of DC and Pittsburgh put together? You know what I mean? I have to say that like maybe you know you guys you know I mean like Sean, you're not like Danny because you know like true story, and I mean God, his voice will put you to sleep. Like I literally play his videos to put my kids to sleep, and they learn something in the meantime. You know what I mean? Not no shade. You know what I mean? But like I have to say that like brother, keep doing what y'all doing because you're actually helping. I'm being real. You're actually helping, and I pray you never change.
And you
That's
say
my
you
piece.
and you say you with the Igbo tribe?
No, the Igba of the
Oh, okay,
Yoruba.
okay, okay,
Igba clan. Yeah, that's
yeah,
my clan.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that was because of you. I learned, bro, like I joined the military and they were like, and I learned like the thing is when you learn about West African history, right? Because they always every time they talk about military, can you do this thing? And I'm sorry to just something I always wanted to ask you. Is it possible you could do like West African military strategy? Because I want to like or at least give you some resources for that because I want to learn about because I know about the Buffalo Soldiers because I have 4 Buffalo Soldiers in my family. I know about the Harlem Hellfighters. I have 2 of those in my family, but I don't know who I was before I got on the ship, and I just want to know like that history. You know what I mean? So if you ever get a chance, if you ever know anything, just you know that would really be helpful. But other than that, thank you so much for being you. Thank you. You know, I reason why I know you're real because you don't throw your Patreon in the chat 1,000 times. So, or you don't throw your, you know, Cash App in the chat 1,000 times. You really just want us to know this information. I want to
We
let you know,
we
as a
ain't got
brother,
no
thank
cash
you.
out. Yeah, appreciate it, man. We ain't got no cash out, man. We don't Mossi Warrior Clan and Kofi Paisa TV. It's not monetized. You know, we not trying to get anything. The only thing our agenda is to push the information out here. I can't speak for Sean or any other the Mossi Warrior Clan members. I can't speak for any other members of the Kofi Paisa TV family and affiliates. I'm just only speaking from for me, it's frustrating at times because we don't ask for anything. You know what I'm saying? We just ask for your ear. We ask for you to spread the information. And a lot of times it takes a lot of money. We actually read books, we actually research, we actually talk to individuals that may be part of a culture that we may not be privy to. Like if we get ready to do some information on a certain culture, we may at certain times we may contact a certain individual, may be privileged to another individual that may be a part of this culture or someone that we may can talk to make sure that all our ducks are in a row um before we present the information. So it's a lot of time that goes into this. And you know, with me, it just get frustrating at times. This is the whole reason why I did the show is because a lot of times, you know, I feel and the other brothers may not.
Street Scholar here.
Yeah. All right. Hold on 1 second, Street Scholar. We'll get to you. And it's somebody on the phone. They not on the panel list. I can't promote them to the panel list, but I open
Yeah,
up
it's
the
a
phone.
it's a nav. You want me to click the link?
Oh,
Oh no, you good, Smith.
you stay right there. You can stay
Oh,
right there.
okay.
We're gonna
All
get to
right, peace.
everybody. But yeah, I'm just speaking from my perspective. I mean, at times I feel like it's not worth it to even continue to buy books, to continue to stay away from my family reading and uh researching certain things, trying to talk to people, trying to do ground research when I can go to different places and spend my own money to do certain things. So it's frustrating at times when the BS outrules, you know what I'm saying, the real information. We're doing we understand sound methodology. We understand Tep Hesed. So we're trying to do that and teach that to the people and also apply the application of things that we learn. We try to apply that so and teach them how to do the methodology and apply it to their own lives where they're able to benefit wherever they at across the world. But we got Shaka Ra. We're gonna go with Shaka Ra, and then we'll go with Saneb, and then we'll go with Street Scholar. Go ahead, Shaka Ra. Appreciate it, DCB 925.
Peace. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Greetings. My name is Shakara. As you said, I'm actually, signing in from London, UK. So blessings. It's like something to 2 in the morning over here, but I saw the conversation had to kind of contribute. Blessings to DCB. That is my father. I think I've said that quite a few times, so apologies if you haven't heard it, but yeah, that's definitely my father. And so, yeah, that kind of leads me to where I was going to go in terms of my contribution. Blessings to all the Mossi Warrior clan. I've been in tune to the channel for a while now, and yet to get through a lot of your videos. But give thanks for the work that you're doing. It's much appreciated. As I said, I'm signing in from London, UK, and DCB mentioned my father. So I start with the fact that I'm born and raised in the conscious community, the Pan-African conscious community in the UK. And we've always been linked in some way, shape, or form with the diaspora conscious community. I grew up, going to African Liberation Day AOD observances, and many of the scholars that you were speaking about earlier in the show, I've met, in life, like in real life. I've met John Henry Clark, I've met Dr. Ben, Isha Kamusa Barashango, Mama Marimba Ani. In fact, my organization has hosted her. Anthony Browder, I'm saying, so many of the greats, that we speak about. I grew up, meeting and seeing and listening to Nana Kuntu, aka Dale Jones, and that's not cool enough, Baba Mwalimu Baruti and Naya Baruti, so many of them, you know what I'm saying? And the thing that I'm observing, and maybe this conversation is reflective of it, is the fact that growing up, scholarship, activism, and organization were definitely parts of a unique whole that represented what the conscious community was. Yeah. And one of the things that I think is deficient at the moment is the fact that we seem to have separated the scholarship from the activism and the organization, elevated the scholarship and the dissemination of information as an endeavor in and of itself. Yeah. And so because of that, lectures and debates have taken up a lot of the energy, the focus, and the prime time viewing, so to speak, if we're going to take it to the YouTube and the internet era. And a lot of the work that is going on in the community is not getting a lot of profile. And that's to do with, the audiences themselves. But I have to put some responsibility on. I mean, I have a channel and I have 2 channels. In fact, I have an actual media company and my own personal channel. And one of the things that we're trying to do is profile work that is going on. So, we're talking about Sarnetta, and I think everybody is kind of agreeing that there's some double edges where that is concerned. But if there is real people that are doing real scholarship, then I think it would be wise for them to see San, because the achievement of Sarnetta is that he has a worldwide audience that is tuned in to some level of conscious conversation in some way, shape, or form. And so therefore, because his platform is open, I don't see, and you lot can correct me if I'm wrong, because you are over there, so you probably know better than me. But I'm not seeing him turning away too many people. So it would seem that if there are scholars who have more to offer than what is generally being seen on the platform, it would seem that some organization is needed to use that platform to promote that scholarship. But even beyond that, outside of just the scholarship, Baba Mwalimu Baruti and Naya Baruti have a school. yeah, that is running the Aquaman Institute. You have Brother Marcus Klein, yeah, over there, who runs Freedom House Academy, you know, and a sister by the name of Queen Thais, yeah, who runs, an independent school. I can't remember the name of the school, but she's in Atlanta, and she runs this thing called the Homeschoolers Expo every year. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different initiatives that are taking place, the work that is going on in the community, that we are not using our platforms to profile, to highlight, to promote enough of. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense of the fact that if we're not doing that as people that are promoting ideas and scholarship and them kind of things, then it would seem that the ideas that we're disseminating only go as far as our speaking about them, our teaching about them. You know what I'm saying? So to me, what is necessary is to link back up again the conscious scholarship with the conscious organization and the conscious activism. I end by saying that when it comes to people like Baba John Henry Clark, a lot of people don't know that the charter, you know, of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, that was that Baba Omowale Malcolm X was supposed to be delivering on the day that he was assassinated. Yeah, the final draft of that, in fact, the early drafts of that were actually penned by Baba John Henry Clark himself. You know what I'm saying? So this is a scholar that was very, very well linked up with the movements and the activism and the organizations in his community. So I'm just suggesting that that is probably the missing link, and we need to basically not create wittingly or unwittingly a forced dichotomy between organization, activism, and scholarship, and bring those three, facets of the conscious community back together. Because there is no movement or development or manifestation without organization, unless the scholarship is linked up with the organization. And I hope that makes sense.
Some of those institutions, man. Man, I would like to, if you can, send us, man, those different institutions, because some of those institutions that you speak of, I have no clue of. You know what I'm saying? And I would like to support those institutions as well. Those institutions that you talk about over here. And also, I see they say you have a YouTube channel, brother Shara.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Baruti, Baruti got the school in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Malai
linked in with him.
Baruti.
He in the journal and everything.
Yeah.
He support us already. He on our like page on Facebook.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
yeah, we got
Baba
a straight link
Baruti
to him.
just had Kabuku this weekend, actually, in Atlanta also. Lots of people weren't aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so yeah, I do have a channel. I'm in the chat as well, so let's click my thing and go to my channel.
Okay.
And I also run a media company called Got Kush TV, which is really the more institution that I build. My channel is just my personal, outlet. But the institution is a media company, which is Got Kush TV. So do search that out. And I've only mentioned in terms of the institutions, I've only mentioned those that I know of that are in the States, because I know most of the people on the corner in the chat are in the States. But we could speak about institutions in the UK, in the Caribbean, on the continent. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that our scholarship and our media outlets and our teaching should also be an outlet for profiling the actual work that is going on in the community, and maybe we would see more hope, or more more movement or activism or manifestation of what we're teaching if we were doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Respect. Appreciate you, man, for jumping on the panel, man.
Yes, sir.
We got who was, I think, Seneb. After Seneb, we got Street Scholar, and then we got our lovely sister, Sister Juju.
Peace. What's going on? Peace to the fam.
Peace, brother Seneb. Peace.
Now, this thing is kind of difficult to follow up with what the good brother who was just speaking kind of said. I think it kind of summarized, and peace to him, it kind of summarizes what I was going to summarize in the fact that the lack of organization, but I would like to speak on a different aspect of the conversation. And I kind of address this on a different channel, is this thing that we call a community. Like, first of all, what is a conscious community? is in the community I'm from, there's a rule, there's guidelines, there's certain sets of leadership or people that we see as leaderships to provide, leaders, I mean, to provide a sense of clarity in the midst of disorganization. I don't think the quote unquote conscious community is that. I feel like more say as of now, it's just a community of people, some who like to be entertained and some who like to be entertained and learn, and those who just strictly just want to learn 24/7, 365, but there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, I think first, I mean, what is this conscious community that we speak of? Like, what is it? Is it just, I don't want to get into the mindset of censoring information. I don't think we're at the maturity yet if we want to consider this YouTube thing, this Facebook thing, this social media thing, and conscious community to begin to censor information. The people are going to censor the information anyway. You can read those chats with those individuals that we consider pseudo. Go online. You read the chat. People are already identifying the information to be pseudo. But with that pseudo, are you prepared to challenge the information that that quote unquote pseudo person has and is presenting? If that's the line you want to go down of, and that is to, call out things that we see that doesn't necessarily coalesce with the information that we receive by certain elders and ancestors. I'm under the idea that everybody ain't gonna make it. You dig? Baba Rudy once said, I believe in menticide, that we shouldn't be in the business of proselytizing. That's the same thing that church is doing, that mosque is doing, that temple is doing. Mm-hmm. We each one teach one in NBK. You dig what I'm saying? Those who want to get the information, who really want to learn it and understand it and build about it, they're going to come regardless. If that's 200 people watching a video that I may have spent a whole weekend or 2 weeks building, I'm okay with it, because those 200 people may know in total 200 people, and that's how we get the information spread.
Brother Sanea, all right, now,
go ahead, my brother.
No. With that, I want you to, I'm not trying to stop your bill, what you said, and I know you said that in the chat, and I know brother Sean was telling me that with a post I made, a frustration post. What I'm asking you, what can I do? Because I want to work on that and get better. I hadn't did nothing in a month. Mm-hmm. People know I'm consistent on both channels, the Mossi and Kofi Paisa TV.
Oh, most definitely.
I'm always doing something, because my thing, everybody know my thing. As I learn, we all learn. And I continue to, I love to read. So as I learn things and research things and, meet people and talk to people, I share my my experiences, the research, that I gathered, what do y'all do in that instance where you say, if you don't have but 2 people that watch the video, or you may have 200 people watch the video? I mean, I'm frustrated, what I'm saying? I'm really frustrated because I'm thinking that I'm doing it in vain because of the information. Like when I log on and I go back and I look at some stuff that me and Sean or Brother Ben may done on Mossi, or I go to Kofi Paisa TV and I may look at me, I may look at Vasa, Satep and Ra, Sutek, or I may go to MBK, because those basic, right now are the basic channels that I look at, you know what I'm saying? Because I know it's no distractions, it's no foolishness, and I can, home in without any distractions, take my pen and pencil out and write. And with these platforms, with the type of information that they are displaying, you see, and I look and I see the views after a week, or I look in 2 weeks, it's 300, 200, maybe 5, maybe 6, you know what I'm saying? But it's in between the 2 to 600 view range. And then when I go and look at other platforms, just look at the viewership, and I see certain things is, I know that's not correct, it's not right and exact, that's 1.5, 2.5, 10.5. I mean, it frustrates me because I know that the level of information coming from those platforms, and even just speaking from me with the time that I put in, like, I take away time from with my family by reading. And that's what I'm glad I took a little time off. I've been out for a month, so I've been able to, spend more time with my fiance, more time with my son, even though I have my son a lot, but just spend time with him, even my stepdaughter, and we able to do things, we would laugh and talk. But a lot of times I sacrifice a lot of that so to actually assimilate the information to the people, because I like and I love my people, and I want them to know, this type of information, because I know that they're, you know what I'm saying, we're missing that because it's not being taught in the world. But I'm just asking, what do y'all do in order for y'all not to be frustrated, whether it's one or whether it's two views, when you
Well,
know, like you said, you took a whole week to prepare a presentation for the people, but then when you come on and do the presentation, the viewership is not where it's at, especially when the scholarship is excellent. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all put out excellent information as well. So with this excellent information, how do you not get mad? You know what I'm saying? When you see all the BS over here got 10,000 views and you only got 300 or 400 views. I mean, that's, I mean,
see, I'll say it more like this, you know, and that's why I can appreciate, you know, brother MBK and brother True Story is, and in the day, just being the older head to kind of sit and kind of make you and kind of put it into perspective. My success, first I define what my success is. My success, this is not this is not for anyone in the YouTube world that's a part of this, what we call conscious community. But my success, I have to define it first. I define my success in being able to reach someone and provide them with information that they didn't know previously, then engaging with me. If that's what I quantify as success. So now when I go into, now early on, 3 years ago, when I joined NBK and I was, you know, getting in these books and getting this information and finding things that, you know, even my own grandparents and parents couldn't teach me about Black people, particularly not only in America, but throughout the diaspora. Of course, you're eager to share that information. And then when you're sharing that information with individuals who don't necessarily accept and hold with value the information, of course, it can become disheartening. I know I was the way you feeling and why you took that break is why we have taken breaks ourselves before. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's just time to just decompress and realize what you're in this business for. I can say I'm in this business to provide information to people, period. And my success is predicated upon somebody other than me knowing this said information. And that's it. I don't get mad. Yes, I appreciate when I hit my first 1K on the video. And I remember my video was dang on, my name is my name. That's the first video I went 1K with by myself. Yes, it may seem like a feat. And I
was slanging
that was I worked on that one hard. You see what I'm saying? But it was like, and I appreciate everybody who supported and Sean for pushing it. Was just like, but when you see the comment section and people may not necessarily understand or get the information or begin to play word karate and semantics and pulling out etymology dictionaries, they may be out of 50 comments, that may be 20. Or I'm sorry, that may be 30. But there's gonna be there may be 5 comments within that video where somebody say, "Hey man, I appreciate that. I'm gonna share that video." That's a win for me. And I treat that video that's 1.5 that has those great comments the same way I treat another video that may got 500, but I got 2 comments, and those comments say, "Hey man, we really appreciate you, brother Sanel, bringing this out." I'm cool with that. So I had to stop grading my success based off viewerships and subscriptions. I had to, and it becomes more a quality over quantity. I can't make it my business to just proselytize and stand on the corner and try to get people to come hit that subscription button to New Black Knowledge. I can't do it. My goal is I got 10 people in this room. My goal is to provide these 10 people as much primary resources, as much history without supposition that I can possibly provide them, so when they can pass the information to their children. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what our goal needs to be. It needs to be these babies. You miss me with the trying to convert a 30-year-old grown man that's a grown woman who could care less about what I'm telling them about. We should be trying to focus on these babies. Excuse me,
Exactly.
7 years old, till they graduate from college. We should be focusing our information, because this is the information that they're going to school. I don't know how many times, I say in the last 3 years, that my daughter has came home with a report that the teacher was challenging. Not because she thought my daughter was just pulling out the air. She just wanted my baby to provide the sources for it. And luckily, I've been able to send her back to school with the primaries. You dig what I'm saying? And that's what we can change it at. So now that curriculum at so-and-so elementary and middle school will have to start to change. You dig? We become involved in these PTA these, you know what I'm saying, these meetings at these schools to change the curriculum. But that's what our focus should be. And I want to take it back to what the brother said about merging into activism with the lecturing. And I think that goes perfectly with what he mentioned as organization. Whether you like, you know, St. Baptist AME Zion Church on the Hill, that church had a newspaper. Or this organization had a newspaper to put out when so-and-so was giving a lecture or when so-and-so was holding a register to vote meeting. You dig what I'm saying? It's about us. We don't have to be super Negro Voltron, all living in Wokistan. I'm not saying we got to do it. We all don't have to agree. But in the pocket that I live at, North Atlanta, I can make sure I can try to reach the individuals in my community that are like-minded, whether it be 12 or 22, and try to make sure we're all informed on what each other got going on. You dig what I'm saying? I think we get so sort of wrapped behind trying to, you know, be super woke and form this super organization when you can't really show me this super organization within our history, particularly our history within the Americas. What you saw was small pockets of community-based activism with the history in it. You dig what I'm saying? And you saw how that little pocket was able to change their surroundings, and then it became a global, well, not a global, but it became a national movement. You see the state, the local Negro conventions, then you get the state, now you get the national. I think we need to get back to that instead of trying to form these Superman, these you know, super friend organizations that's going to solve everybody's problems. You dig? Forget about the show. Forget about them talking about spaceships and aliens. Let them have it. But the fact that you can get on the side, this is you, sign up, for instance. Yes, there may be some information on that channel you may not subscribe to, but the fact that you can get on that channel and that 13,000 who was learning about astral projection are now learning about the Wolof tribe, or they're now learning Orisha, or they're now learning about Nana Baluku for this next hour and 30 minutes. I can give a damn if you believe it or not, but trust in this presentation, there's gonna be some sources, there's gonna be some references. You dig? So when you finally get the chance to look at it, you're gonna realize that I'm not blowing smoke up your tail. You dig what I'm saying? Let the pseudos, let them eat over there. Let them have whatever spiritual system they want to have. Let them have that. We should be solely, if you saying that you want to be a historian and you just want to put information out to the people, I'm okay if one of y'all read a blog, one of y'all read a book I write or an article that I write. You dig? That's just my take on it.
Bags.
Yeah, appreciate that too. Some of the things you said, like far as me, you know, I mean, it's been a few times, and I'm gonna let the other speakers. It's been a plenty times. Well, I just want to just walk away, man. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't. I don't, you know, the last few years, you know what I'm saying. I done put in some time, you know what I'm saying, and I don't, and I love I love the brothers, you know, the team that I'm a part of. And, you know, Sean said the same thing to me, far as, you know, don't worry about these grown Negroes, you know what I'm saying? It's for the babies. You know, he told me I got a son, man, and it's recorded, you know, in the history, documented in history, you know, where my son and his friends can go back and other babies can go back and look at information. So, you know, I appreciate that. I mean, you just validated what Sean said as well, because I mean, when he said that, it kind of put that on my mind. So that kind of, you know, that kind of made me go live. Like I said, I've been quiet for a month. And just said I really.
No, and trust me, I was where you was at, and we all go through that. It's, you know, it's an evolution. It's like a revolving thing. You're gonna be high in spirits one minute, and then the next minute you just gonna be down, and that ain't no different than what J.A. Roger went through. You know what I'm saying? Carter G. Woodson went through. Everybody goes through that. You dig what I'm saying? But the beauty of it is we keep going with it. You keep providing our information because you're gonna reach somebody. You got a brother that's called in from an Igbo. You know, you see the connection. It's slowly building, but when we get that organization with it, when we can have another Pan-African conference in Atlanta, y'all come on down to Atlanta. We can eat some seafood and some crawfish, and we can build on how we're going to improve the life for this next generation of babies. You think what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what's up. That's the bigger picture.
That's the biggest. What you just said should be the ultimate goal for anyone that is inspiring to be or consider themselves to be conscious is those what comes out of actual those meetings, and so we should all be inspiring to be at the next conference, knowing about that conference, helping promote that conference, setting the agenda to be there, because some of us is just a driving distance, and we should be in attendance because we should know what we should be working on in order to get organized. And I think that's one of the other bigger reasons that this, I used to just go to Atlanta like every weekend, and I was always with the Amara squad every weekend and supporting what they were doing, because not only they were doing these free lectures, but it was in a different community every week. I mean, every time they had the event, and it, being a part of that, and then the discussions afterwards, and then having my family there, and building and out to eat with everybody, man, and genuinely having those conversations with people that you normally see on YouTube, etc., built something there for me that will be essential for me over the next, few years of my life. But go ahead, Juju. I know you up.
But now we're gonna get Street Scholar, and then
my bad.
Then Juju, we gonna stand. We got you, sister Juju. We know you. We got you, sister. I want to hear from you. Let's go ahead, Street Scholar.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, King.
Oh man, I like what y'all doing, man. I love the information that y'all bring out. Take it from me, all right. I just got into the community. I'm from the streets. All I did was sell drugs to my community, hurt my community. Running pounds up and down the highway, whatever. And then it was Tupac. I know y'all gonna laugh at me, but it was Tupac. It was Tupac that got me X-Clan and Tupac and Public Enemy. I'm 43 years old. I'll be 43 next week. It was Tupac that got me into learning about different things, right? Through the music. And see, that's what I am. I'm a music engineer. I have kids that come in, record their music, and I record them and make sure it sounds good, everything like that. And what they come, and I'm gonna give you a way of talking about entertainment between information. Now I'll be wanting these kids to, I'll be like, don't be rapping about killing another guy or doing all this. We need to be rapping about, different things, explore your mind up to other things so you can rap about other things. Because that's all they know is sipping lean, popping perks, and doing all this, and that's entertainment for them. So I come with some information like, hey, my great uncle is Carter G. Woodson that started the Black History Month. And they be like, oh yeah, OG. I'm like, yeah, man. And because I learned that from my mom, and I start, giving them the information and start giving what I learned from y'all. And I'll be like, say, man, go check these people out. Go check these people out. Go check out Sarnetta. Yes, Sarnetta's gonna have a lot of people because he's bringing a lot of people on. Even if he don't agree with them, he's still gonna bring them on for their information because it's their reality. Whatever you make your reality is gonna be that. I mean, so this entertainment and information, it goes hand to hand. What I have to do is I would have to unsubscribe to things because if let's say I just got on today, and when I got on, going down my timeline on YouTube, I saw y'all going. It said live Mossi Warrior Clan. I said, oh shit, let me click on this because I'm always on the Dagger Squad. I'm on the Garfield's channel every morning. So anybody who's coming up and I'm scrolling up and I see them going live or I see them coming down my timeline, because I got too much stuff going on. So, but as soon as I see you, I'm clicking because I love all y'all information. I don't give a damn if it's pseudo or the correct information. I'm gonna listen to it because I know how to disseminate. Even if I'm coming, especially if I'm coming from the streets, because I had to survive knowing my reality and where I'm at and knowing the information that I needed to know. If you didn't, you was out of here. So I love y'all information, man. And what I was saying a while ago is a community, this is an internet community. So I'm thinking like, who can I trust? First, they was talking about let's support Umar Johnson on his school. Remember, I'm a street guy, but I'm coming into conscious community. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm finna, send some money over here to Umar. But then here come a few weeks later, people talking about he's scamming and he ain't gonna start the school. And I'm like, well, damn. And then what's the guy that was starting a tussle fund in Tulsa, Oklahoma? I'm like, okay, this sounds good. It seems like he's a straight brother. And then next thing you know, I'm hearing this. Then I'm hearing about, and I love Polite. I love his information, even though people might think pseudo or whatever. I say, okay, but I like how he's giving it to me. I like it, and then they say he's a damn scammer. So I'm like, damn, where's the trust in this community that I'm supposed to be putting myself into? Because I'm looking in my world, all you had was your word and your trust, or you would get whacked out here. You would get murdered out here if somebody said, if I'm fronting you this, and I say I need this back in a month, my G, and you come back and give me some kind of excuse to why you don't have my money, we got a problem, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm coming in this community, and I'm like, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that, but then somebody said, well, this person is scamming and this. I'm like, well, damn, I'm from a small town in Texas, Paris, Texas, where the murder rate, when some people get murdered down here, it's nothing. The cops don't do anything, which is nothing. So I'm out here learning from y'all and then trying to give it back to this community that I helped destroy. So I'm going to say to y'all, keep doing your thing because you're reaching somebody and you reached me. That's why I named myself Street Scholar, not because I've been out the game since 2002. But what I'm saying is y'all bringing stuff to me. When y'all start talking about the African tribes and what they wore and what their rituals was, I said, I love this because I need that information. But at the end of the day, what can we do right now? Because that's just like I'm trying to tell a brother on the street, say, man, you don't need to be selling drugs and whoop. Okay, if I tell him that, what can I give him that's going to replace the $1,000 that he's making a day? What can I replace him with? What can I replace that money with? You see what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, that information, that learning about history and all that, we need that. You're right, because that what got me. Learning my history and like, oh man, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. Damn. I missed out on a lot of things because when I was in school, I was a class clown. I was smart, but it was boring to me. Some people learn by the book, some people learn by action. So I had a good teacher that interacted, made us smile and made us laugh. She made the information fun. So that class, I love to go to that class. So what I'm saying is keep doing y'all thing and then just listen to other people say, hey, okay. Because I was raised by my mom and my dad all my life, so I'm not emotional. So a lot of people's not raised by their mom and their dad, so they be emotional about things. So if y'all see what I'm saying, I'm just saying, just keep doing y'all thing, man, because you're reaching somebody. You reached me. I listen to everybody. I don't give a damn. Joe Rogan, I love the Joe Rogan show, right? Because he has, what's the guy, Tesla? He had him on there. Then he have pseudos on there. His best friend is a pseudo. He breathing aliens and all this stuff. But it's entertaining. And I know it's pseudo, but it's still entertainment. I know how to eat the meat and throw away the bone. But it's still entertainment because Joe Rogan's like, no, man, you stop playing, man. I don't believe in that. I'm telling you, man, that this is, you see what I'm saying? So it's back and forth. It's back and forth, but you find that balance. But I don't want to speak too long, man. I'm just letting y'all know y'all appreciate it, man. Y'all, I learned a lot from every last one of y'all, man. So keep doing your thing. You're reaching one by one. You're reaching people. Even if you don't know it, you are. All of y'all. Sonetta, Dagger Squad, Mossi Warrior Clan. Who else? Truth Historian. I love Truth Historian because he's calm with it. I love Wuja because he's calm with it. See, I love calm people. People who's calm, then I can listen to you. I can listen to the other bullshit too, you know, because I'm from the street. So, you know, I've got to find that balance. But I want to just say I appreciate y'all, man, and keep going.
All right. Appreciate it, brother. Sister Juju.
I love when he say that whoop de whoop. Where y'all get that from? That's super cute, but I love that whoop de whoop. I'm gonna start using that. Anyway, a BB Fahodi, ETM Hotep, family and friends. I got a couple things. I don't know where to start. I'm gonna be like Iron Lungs too, but I want to offer some suggestions and maybe some solutions to some of the things that were asked in this discussion about what do we do, or you know, how can we start supporting more. But first and foremost, I just want to thank you all so much for providing these platforms, particularly to Mossi Warrior Clan, particularly to you, Kofi. Your work is exceptional, and particularly to Sean, Innie Harret. You already know, you kind of like brought me in the circle. Chief X introduced me to you all, but it was you that I was following around like a little lost puppy dog. And so I got to really be introduced into circles that was about intellect and scholarship. And it made me reflect on, you know, some of the things that I was doing that could have been questionable as far as the information, and just, you know, vetting my sources and becoming more of an active learner. Because, you know, I went to college, but when you get out of college and get a little older and you get into this world, you can be kind of introduced to lots of dumb stuff and not knowing really where to go because everybody else around you is kind of in that thing. I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida. It's not like a big, you know, Black African conscious community, so to speak. People want to say that, but their actions don't speak that. So here's my solutions. So since I'm in a community that's not really big on that, you know, we're all kind of church focused around here. And if you're not really involved in the church, or if you're not involved with Bethune-Cookman University, I'll get into that some more, you're kind of left out in the cold, especially the Black people here. So I do community work dealing with some of, you know, the Black community that is, that people don't really want to deal with, you know, or really don't know. Like I like to go in the hood of the hoods because that's somewhat how I grew up. So I'm going to give you all some names. And some of you don't already know these people. Some of you do. Like Sineb, I know he's in Atlanta. And I was just mentioning how Mawalimu Baruti, Baba Mawalimu Baruti, just had the Kabuka event there in Atlanta this weekend. I know some of my friends from Tampa went there. And I heard it was beautiful. I wanted to show up, but I could not attend. But I also attended the RBG Music Festival not too long ago. That was beautiful. Baba Mukasa Ricks was there. Also, Kalanji Jama Chenga. He's with the FTP party, and he's also one of the directors of the Freedom Home Academy, which is a African-centered school. Also, you got Marcus Klein that's out there doing great work in Chicago, Illinois, with the Freedom Home Academy. And I wrote down he also has a Nkrumah International Academy. If I said that right, I'm like you, Kofi, I can't pronounce none of them. But he has the Freedom Freedom International Academy and that one. He also just did a school, started a school in Fort Lauderdale. So everybody wants to get all hyped and excited about, what's his name, Umar Johnson. I saw Umar Johnson about 2 years ago, prolific speaker. He's fantastic, but it's also about not only what you say, but it's like what you do. And if you are producing, so, you know, he can speak, you know, he'd be, particularly he could be a panty dropper, intellectual panty dropper, but you got to do more than just that. So for me, where it stops for me, and I never really gave any thought or money to that because there was already some questionable things, even with Polite. I'm not really a fan of his either because I know people that's in the community that's actually doing this work, like Mossi Warrior Clan, Kofi Paisai, Sean, Innie Harret, You got Benjamin IG. Like they already doing work out there. Even Tadaka, like they got books, they have literature that you can, purchase to support their endeavors. And this is about true Black African scholarship, and this is about also supporting our future and the information that we're going to leave for them, and that they can, vet. And if anything is wrong, can be corrected. But these are groups that are following in the footsteps of our ancestors. And if something is wrong, it's going to be corrected. And then we're going to push forward so we can continue to evolve. That's my favorite thing. We must be moving forward and evolving. So if you want to know what to do, start supporting some of these institutions, whether it be monetarily, or if you know there's an event coming up, an RBG Music Festival, they already have the date out for that. That's going to be next year. I think it's September 20th. So put it on your calendar now. That's almost a year away. And let's just support some of these activities. That way, when we go to these events, we can be meeting each other, interacting with each other on a more like personal, physical level. And it doesn't just have to be the internet community. We can make these connections and we can build these physical ciphers. And I think that's way more important. And I really, I don't have a lot of money. And it's like, oh, I got the money, da da da. Well, if there's a will, there's a way. You can make it happen. Work it out. We are Black African people, but most of the times, we'll make the way for each other. We're compassionate people. That's ingrained in us. So if there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way. So, let's stop making excuses and let's really put our focus where our mouths are, while we have so much action of the lips. Let's have action of, the mind and the body to get to these places and support our brothers and sisters who's putting in this work. And that's all I really wanted to say.
Juju.
Yes.
My Facebook page needs some support because Facebook won't let me share nothing. I'm in jail to February.
Listen, today when we had the first presentation, I started sharing in groups and Facebook got me blocked now for sharing Mossi Warrior Clan videos in any group. And all the groups I've been sharing it to are supposed to be, Pan-African, Black power groups or whatever, or, sister brother groups to us. So I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but again, that's why we need to be like expanding out those platforms because yeah, they eventually are going to try to limit us and try to silence us. Let's not rely on that. And that's why we need to be making better connections with each other so we can continue to work and do the work, whether it's on Facebook or not, either way. So I just talked to my brother, Robert Lawson. He's in Sarasota. We're in similar situations. We don't really have a lot of personal support around here for what we believe in and what we do. I particularly do it on an individual level. Like if I'm engaged in conversations, I'm always throwing out Mossi Warrior Clan out there. I'm always throwing out the Sesh Mani Meta Netra Corrupt. I'm always throwing out MBK out there. I'm always throwing out the 10 other channels that what's my good brother Sindib that be on Sick Tech that's on. Like I'm always Niger Valley Civilization, always throwing those names out there. And I tell people, I said, look, if you want to be entertained, that's fine. You have these other channels. And I don't knock Saad, get what he's doing, but we are at a state that we really need to get it together. And those are just the sacrifices we need to make. We got to grow up and we got to become mature. I'm the oldest, immaturest person in the world. I like to crack jokes. I'm funny. I'm quirky. I don't got good character. I curse a lot. That's my thing. But when it comes down to my people, particularly the children, I know how to get in line and get it done and, step onto the stage and really perform. I will do that. And so I'm just saying we have to find the balance and be focused on that. So support some of those people I named, Mawalami Barudi in Atlanta. Seneb, I know you probably got more information on him, but he's doing great things. Marcus Klein and Baba Amin out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and now he's in South Carolina. They already have African-centered schools, uhuruacademy.com. If you want to support people who are already teaching our children, don't be concerned with Umar. Like, let's get off of it. Let's support the people who are already out there doing the work. We are doing this. There are some of us out there that are doing this already. So don't think, it's not happening. There's a lot happening. They just don't get the platform or the stage to shine as bright as people like Umar and Polite. So it is up to us that's kind of in the middle who still have that to do that. So that's what I'm here for, is to do that. And I will continue to do that. And if we got to move small and it be small steps, it's going to be small steps to a greater thing So thank you, Kofi. Please don't quit. I love what you do, and I appreciate you tremendously.
Quit begging that
Sean.
fool. He ain't going nowhere. Hey, nah,
I'm just trying to give him some encouragement from the sister, okay? I'm
I
just
know
trying to,
y'all were trying to be
create some
compassionate.
balance with this. All the brothers on the line. I'm just letting you know,
we gotta
fam.
beat him up. Beat him up, everybody. Beat him up.
Man. I'm sending out viral hugs to everybody, okay?
Look.
That's what I'm about.
I do want to say this though, real quick. I appreciate everybody that's actually tuned in, because this was an impromptu discussion, and there was an opportunity to not only let him blow off his steam, but other people to get on the panel and get their stuff out as well. And hopefully we'll see some faces, because I did see a lot of new faces in the chat. So, even the people from the panelists, like Street Scholar said, what I'm saying, I respect that, Street Scholar, because a lot of us been in the same position, brother, from where you come from and all of that, and respect the transition. However, hopefully, if you haven't been watching any of our content, that you watch it now, and then go from there, man. I want everybody, and my son just put a video up, man. Caleb, he got a YouTube page. You know what I'm saying? He trying to get a lot of subscribers because he want to be a YouTuber. He want to be a YouTuber so he can make some money, and I want him to be famous. His name is Caleb.
He wanted to get some car insurance.
I just saw it. Gamer uploaded a video. It's called "Hey, You Got Car Insurance."
He wanted to get car insurance.
I love it. I have not watched it. I don't know what my son does during his free time, but he's only 7. So it's not going to be something that you really go learn something from unless he on there dancing.
I love his videos.
But you know what I mean? Support my child.
I'm a subscriber.
He wants to be YouTube famous so that he could take care of his mother. That's his ultimate goal. And hey, he just being a 7-year-old.
Already.
Yeah, man, we totally agree. And you're right. I am King Sosa. I'm a slave to the people. That's how I feel at time. I'm a slave to the people. I just, like Sean said, I just wanted to vent, to blow off a little steam, but not only just blow off a little steam, but just put some, just ask, like, what are we doing? Like, is the conscious community stuck in time? Are we going to continue to do the same thing next year and the year after next? Are we producing anything there? Are we benefiting from what we call in this conscious community? No, we're not benefiting. No, we're not producing. We are more confused, and it's just my observation. Just from my observation, we are more confused than ever now. We have so much information out there, and a lot of the information that is misinformation is being promoted. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like I said, at times it can be frustrating, but again, we weren't trying to attack anybody low key. That was a statement that was made in there. This video was not to attack, and you can see I didn't address any other platform. I said I would not mention other platforms because there are a lot of platforms out there besides, one of the platforms was Sonetta TV that was mentioned a few times on here by a few different people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say anything about Sonetta TV, but I mean, people know I don't watch Sonetta TV. I mean, I don't watch it. I won't allow my son to watch Sonetta TV, but that's what I'm saying? And like I said, that's a whole other reason. I mean, to me, I feel like if we're going to be, I look at everything from an African perspective. I say this a lot. Everybody that comes in contact with me know that I don't look at things from a European perspective, from a Euro perspective or Arab perspective. And I'm using those two examples because we have been kidnapped by these two groups of people. We have been influenced a lot by these two groups of people. We look at their worldview. We look through their eyes when we look at certain things when we dealing with the world. So I look at everything from an African perspective. So everything that I look at it from an African perspective. And when I look at it and I understand our history, I understand our culture, our traditions, I understand that in order to, these community was built on foundations of morals. You know what I'm saying? Morals and principle. This is how we was able to get along, and we was able to produce things because we understood that we had to acknowledge one's existence, one being. We know we had to be respectful. We know we had to honor those who was putting in work. We understood, so we knew these different methods of morals and principles. So with certain platforms, I've removed myself from those platforms or don't even give the time of day because I say I'm an African. So, and most of those platforms say the same thing. A lot of them push more to Africa. They, what I'm saying? So they're against those that oppose Africa. But when they say they're Africans, they contradict themselves when I look at it, when I see the bad behavior, when I see the misconduct, what I'm saying? When I see the blatant attack, when I see the want to stroke one ego, want to always be one up on the next individual, etc. So I can't look at those types of platforms. I can't allow my kids to look at those type of platforms because it is a distraction to me. One, is a distraction to my son. I want him to, what I'm saying, and him, what I'm saying, to go and look at information without all of the foolishness. I never did say it and going to say it for the 1,000 times. I have no problem with entertainment. But at this point in time, I see this in the community right now. Entertainment rules over scholarship. Entertainment rules over in what's the name? And not only that, I'll say this too. I hope that we start holding the conscious community, these different platforms, even us, Mossi, even Kofi Paisai TV or any other MBK. I always throw those names out there because I belong to those other two groups and the Seshuma Ani Meta Nature and MBK. Those groups, I know that conduct themselves in a proper manner. They are always conducting themselves with good character. They're always polite. They always, what I'm saying, just respectful, just all the way around the board. Even when they have trolls and different things that come onto the platform, their main focus is not to entertain. Their main focus is to educate and to spread information and to reach our people. So that is our common goal. But like I said, those are the platforms. I just look at it as a contradiction when you say you're African centered, you're African perspective, but you're not acting like an African or not looking through the eyes of an African from their perspective. Because a lot of these individuals on the platform that say they're African centered or they may be Igbo, Akan, all these other different uh, 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 ancestry that they may be descended from, they don't act as such. They still look through the European perspective, i.e., when we talk about stuck in time. We talked about debates a while ago. We talked about debates. There's nothing wrong with debating. As my brother said, what they are doing is not debating. They are having discussions. And even Wu Jiao even broke down, brother Wu Jiao broke down a while back what is debating. So he broke down uh, everything that comes with debating. But anyway, what I'm saying is, and brother Sean made we made he gave out some working definitions before we got started, and he talks about benefiting the whole community, and we talk about the conscious community. So it's a community of people. So we are allowing other people to off of benefit and not putting anything back in the community. And that's one of my frustrations and my issues as well. Certain small pockets of people are benefiting from people ignorance. The same thing that most church institution does. They benefit off of the ignorance of other people. And they do not take that money that they're benefiting from or they're gaining from and make a better community. So when we have these certain events that we support, I'm just frustrated is where is the money going? The big events, I understand that they may spend money, recoup your money back, because I understand it takes money to make money. But at the same time, if you're talking about a community and you're a part of a community, if you have a hand in helping the community, let's help the community. You see what I'm saying? Let's figure out a way on how to help the community. If we're going to put on these certain types of events and stuff, ask where this money going. Are we going to take some of this money and put back into the community? Were we able to start producing anything? Because I was just talking about this today. Is we don't own anything, and I was talking about this until my 8-year-old stepdaughter today, and I was just talking about how Black people gave up everything to integrate with the European. And I was telling stepdaughter who's 8 years old. We hate the condition we in, but we love the people who put us in this condition. We make excuses for the people who put us in these conditions, but we always complain about the conditions that we are in. And we gave up the little bit that we had after we was emancipated, so-called emancipated. We began to build and we began to produce things. And we gave up what we produce in order to be accepted by those who don't accept us, who don't love us, and continue to oppress us. So we integrated with um these group of people. So, and what I'm saying is we have to start holding these people accountable for the things that they do, and we need to start even holding us accountable. We need to start producing, even though we don't monetize our channel. We don't want any money from. We don't have a super chat. You know what I'm saying? Even though these things do get expensive when we buy books, we have posted books. Me, Sean, Brother Ben, and other brothers have posted books where books are $500, $1,000, $1,500. These books, even the small books, just adding up. If we doing research on a certain topic, we may buy 3 or 4 books, and then when we do at our videos, we make sure that we give you the reference where you can go and critique, you can go scrutinize our sources. So we read plenty of books, articles, and then some articles we may pay for the article. So it do get expensive, but we don't ask for any money. But if we in the future decide to monetize the channel, have a super chat or GoFundMe pages or whatever, hold us accountable as well. What are we doing with the money? Are we just taking the money and putting it in our pocket because we don't want to go work for the white man? Or we building what's the name where we able to uh, continue further our resources, where later we able to come on and produce institutions for the family or produce businesses for the family, or i.e. whatever it may be. So we need to start holding these individuals accountable, and we need to change up the strategy. We don't need to go into 2020 doing the same thing we did 10 years ago, 10 years, because that's what we are doing in the conscious community, is the same thing over and over every year, and we are not producing anything. I would like to us to leave something for the babies. As you know, we keep talking about, you know what I'm saying, we need to do it for the babies. So we need to start making these guys start to produce things. And even like I said, held in the Mossi, Kofi, Paisal, any other platform, start holding those people accountable. This presentation again was not to attack any other platform. Like I said, was Sinetta TV was mentioned a few times on here by a few different people. Again, it wasn't to attack him. And we all have our own personal reasons why we support or we don't support that platform. And at this time, I just don't support the platform because of the misinformation and a lot of the antics and foolery that go on, and I can't learn. My thing is I want to learn. I can't learn with a lot of the distractions. I just can't learn with that. And even with the other platforms that may go on that we didn't mention. And again, it wasn't to attack any other platform, but we know um I mean, and I'm just want, I'm just frustrated with those, with certain platforms that gets all the shine. And for now on, though, I don't care if we get 200 views, we get 2 views, I get 2 views or whatever. I'm gonna continue to do what I gotta do. I love doing what I want to do, but I just hate that a lot of the nigga shit gets all the attention most of the time, when I know that we got some heavy hitters on the Mossi Warrior clan, when I know we got heavy hitters on the Kofi Paisai TV family affiliates, when I know that the NBK family, you know what I'm saying, they got heavy hitters. That whole platform, I respect that platform to the higher. That is one of my favorite platforms out today is NBK, because again of the good conduct that they display on there, and also the information that they display and the sources and the primaries that they give, primaries, which is important, that they give. So, again, I just wanted to make sure that people know that this wasn't to bash any other people in the so-called conscious social media community. It was just to ask a question, and maybe the people making answer my question and say, hey, they produce this, X, Y, and Z. No, we're not stuck in the time. We are doing. And I'm just going off of my observation. The brothers is going and the sisters are going off of their observation. So again, this was not to bash any other platform, but at some point in time, we got to let the nigga shit go. We got to stop staying stuck in time doing the same thing. We got to start holding these people accountable for certain things, and we have to make them start producing things if they're saying if we're going to give our money away. Because a lot of times it's hard for a lot of us. A lot of us work for the white man. You see, a lot of us have our own businesses, small businesses, so we don't have a whole lot to do because we have to support our families and do other things, and then we take the rest of our money and we use that money wisely. So we don't have it all the time to give, and if we do, we need you to be able to take that money and let that money be able to work for us and work for the community as a whole. So we got to start holding these people accountable. They have to start producing something. We have to start producing something.
Can I ask a
Preach,
question?
Kofi. Preach.
Can I ask a question, Kofi?
Go ahead.
Uh, as a child in the community, what is the end goal? With all the information that we have and everything, what is the end? What is the goal that we are trying to reach? And when we say taking it to this institution, whatever, whoop whoop, and she likes that word whoop whoop, but what is the end goal? Let me give some perspective on it. Like, let's say with the people in England and Britain, when they first came over here, you had the Puritans. They was mad at the king and they had too much power. So they say, okay, do us this little favor. Let us go over here to the new land and let us start this thing. And we're going to give you some money back. And they like, y'all, we don't really like y'all anyway. Y'all go ahead, but as long as you pay us back. And they started their own thing down here, so and then you got the Mormons in Utah. Everybody, when nobody went west and all the native was out there and people were scared to go. The Mormons went, they started Utah. Now they got a whole state of them, of just them.
I want to
So
answer that real. I don't
so
mean to cut you off, but
go ahead.
I want to kind of answer that, the end goal. So for me, the end goal for our children is to start creating and having our own agencies that are self-defining for us, by us. That's the ultimate end goal,
Yes,
to be
that's
able
it.
to determine your reality, your existence without it being, how shall I say, dictated by outside entities or other cultures. That's always been somewhat the end goal coming out of this African Holocaust, is to get back to our own devices.
Right.
That
So
is
are
it.
so are you saying what I mean is, because I feel like we're not oppressed enough. Meaning meaning in slavery, you had no choice. You had no choice but to do. Even if you had churches, whatever, that didn't really mean nothing. You still had to be with each other because did nobody else accepted you.
It-
Uh,
right,
then,
right,
Right,
right. You
right.
said right, but but
Yeah, I love your
we had no
question.
choice. We had no choice. Right. And that was the whole thing when I was talking integration. See, now we have integrated. See, even when we was free, when we was emancipated and we had no choice. We roamed on our own. We ended up producing our own because again, they didn't want us. We went through Jim Crow, we went through all these different things, right? The black code law, all these different things that they put upon us. So we had no choice. So we worked with each other and we began to produce things. So we had
Right.
schools, we had libraries, we had grocery stores, we had all type, we had doctor offices, we had all these types of things until we integrated. Now we have integrated, and now we have got and through the school system, and not only through the religion, our babies are being taught to have low self-esteem. They're being taught that Europeans are superior and and black people are inferior. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to empower our people. Hey, we created this, we created that. They say that we didn't do anything to build any type of civilization. So let me show you these different civilizations before we even get to a European culture. Let me show you the types of things, the mathematic equations and certain things that we created. Let us show you about, and we created animal husbandry. So we're trying to empower our people, that we did do these types of things because a lot of us are still suffering from low self-esteem through the religion and through what's name. This is why we always will agree when someone that doesn't look like us will agree and utter every word that this individual said when your spouse or your spouse just told you the same thing last week. This is why we'll say, I'm gonna take my car out here to the white man instead of taking out here to the black. This is why when we go to the European store, we'll spend $150, but when we come to our own community, we trying to bargain and say, hey man, let me get that for $25. But when you go over here, you don't do that. So I'm saying we have lost ourselves through integration where we can't work with each other. And now we dependent, our whole dependency relies on people who have raped, murdered, pillaged, and destroyed us. So if the Europeans tell us that we can't take our kids can't go to their schools anymore, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But most people will be lost. If the Europeans tell us that we can't go to their grocery stores no more, if the Europeans tell us that they're not going to assist us in any type of medical aid, we can't go to their hospitals anymore. If the Europeans tell us they're not going to protect us anymore with their police institution, which they are doing very lack of, we're going to be assed out because we don't know how to grow food.
Facts. Kofi.
We don't know how to do anything anymore. So the end
Facts.
game is to produce, just have self-esteem
Kofi.
and start to produce.
Kofi.
Go ahead.
Facts.
You done preaching?
Yeah, I'm done.
Preach,
Damn.
Kofi.
I'm over here like this nigga that turns the church on us, man. This nigga went to Sunday school on us. I'm in this motherfucker like, can I just say one thing to answer the brother question? This nigga start preaching.
Let me get your
Hold
crump
on, let me correct myself. Hold on, y'all. Let me correct myself. First,
Let me get a crump in.
Let me apologize.
Correct it fast.
You know what I mean? I want to retract that word. I want to retract it. But my brother Kofi was going in. I do want to say that he was going in. He got that Southern Baptist thing. It was cooking. All right. I'm gonna be short. So it's a lot of people. So take join the panel and CK. We do want to hear from them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time Kofi has on this because he set the show up, but I do want to say to the street scholar, you asked a profound question that some people will struggle with answering. And to that particular point, I'm glad that you asked it here because you probably wouldn't get an answer elsewhere. Our end game should always be about the upliftment and the forward movement of our youth, our children that come behind our children, behind our children. We should be set in stone with developing the scientific literacy and understanding and the development for them to adhere to solve problems. If we're just romanticizing history, we are doomed. We are doomed, and we will not be able to resolve real issues that Kofi just elaborated on. So, with that understanding, to Juju's point, to Kofi's soliloquy, and to what I just stated, and what Seneb has stated, and everybody else has stated, what we're all, especially Shakura, what we all are fighting for is to not only liberate the African in the diaspora and the African American or the anywhere, the African mind, just overall. We are looking to restore that confidence and faith back into our people so that we can redevelop our ability to think critically and answer those tough questions. So at the end of the day, our end game will always be at our children's feet. They should not have to struggle with the things that we went through. We already lost generations in the past. We had the crack era, we had all of that. We lost generations. Okay, how do we overcome that? We don't go back into a whole new crack era, which is basically what our youth are doing at this particular juncture when they're on all kinds of pills, new drugs, and everything. So we need to fight for the hearts and the minds of the youth, to liberate and empower them, to help them be able to do all the things that was just mentioned on this panel so that their kids won't have to fight that battle. We cannot lose any more generations. It continues to set us back. And then we're left asking your great question
100 years from now.
I feel you. I feel you. And another okay, so with that end game, I want to ask you this, and I'm gonna let everybody else speak. Let me ask you this. Are we saying because we still in American system. We're still in the people that we say that oppress us. We're still in that system, even with the information. So all I'm saying is, should we go to start our own state, and all of us that are conscious and are, like I say, we don't even have brick masons no more. People who can lay carpet like me. I can do roof tiling and stuff like that. So if you say, hey, we're gonna all move to the state of Georgia, all the conscious community, everybody, let's pack up and move. I will go. I will go. My daughter's 17 years old. She's getting ready to get out of school. If you say, hey, we all gonna go to Georgia, we're gonna take over this state, I'm gonna go. Or you say, or are you gonna say, or should we go to Africa? Should we go somewhere else and start some? My biggest question:
Some people are not gonna do that.
Can we start? Can we start a nation? Is my question. Can we? Are we smart enough? Are we? Do we got enough brick masons? Enough people who can do housing, infrastructure, all the things that we need, food growing, everything. Can we start a nation? That's my question.
Oh, so let me answer that. Let me answer that real quick. Let me answer it real quick. We will never have enough to be able to do the things that we need to do unless we get serious about it. Do we have the people that have some of the ability to be able to start? First, we should not be talking about starting a nation. We should be worried about solving a neighborhood issue. Turn the neighborhood issue. We got to start small. So I'm saying it like it's for a reason. You change the neighborhood, or you build the neighborhood, or you rebuild the neighborhood. From that, you develop the community with like minds to solve the problems. You develop the community. What comes out of the community is something bigger. Then it reaches beyond the community to a subdivision. If you see what I'm going with the development, and then the subdivision will then turn into a facility or a bigger facility of itself. It has to keep. Remember, things change, so this has to be a evolving process and adaptation. But we must not fear what happened to Black Wall Street. Atlanta is the perfect place because it seems like now the hub of information is centered in Atlanta. There's more like-minded individuals in Atlanta that are working together. They down there doing the library. But right there where he's at, there's other Black businesses in that little town right there that are all developing at the same pace. So, there's models in place, but we got to get serious, brother. So you're asking a very, very serious question, two questions on a panel. Now I'm gonna let everybody else chime in on it, but the short and skinny is we can with the information that we have, with the few people that we have it with, we could build a neighborhood. The problem is developing that neighborhood into a community, into a subdivision of like-minded individuals that are all invested and have the same agenda. Now, remember, we are tribal people. So we're not all going to just get along easily. But if we work toward a common goal, then we can integrate in our philosophy. We can integrate in our philosophy and inside of that community the ideas that have stood the test of time, and we can build a better new with that information. However, it's going to be challenges, and not everybody's up for the challenges because we have been condemned mentally. So I'm going to let, I think it was Vasa to answer, go next. We do need to hear from Tech and CK.
Yeah, I forgot about Sutek on here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sean kind of stole majority of my answers. The question shouldn't be, are we intelligent enough or do we have the potential? The question really needs to be centered around, are we going to create a dynamic that allows the dedication to the idea of a Black nation to finally manifest. And we have to be patient as that does manifest. And to put a historical perspective on it, just look at where we're forced. It wasn't willingly, but look at the nation that we was forced to be under, the United States nation. This manifested from these same scenarios, and a certain oppressed group of people fighting back against that. And to answer that question of establishing nationhood, their means of production to manifest that was war and conquest. I don't think that's naturally in our hearts or in our psyches to destroy human beings or the planet for that matter, especially with the type of war weapons that we have. How we can combat it is creating that idea that cannot be destroyed and removing the ideas that destroyed us. And I think that's where we have this gray area right now that a lot of us are trying to figure out how we're going to clean this up. We got a lot that's stuck in the mentality of we wasn't nothing, so I'm going to be nothing. We have few who are pointing out all the things that we did that prove we are beyond something, that we are great. Once we figure out how to remove this little gray area, then the conversation of what step is next. And that's why I wanted to introduce that word earlier about organization. I didn't mean organization in the sense of get organized, but organizations as far as organizations are established, which would allow communities, what's the word I'm looking for? Associations, societies, and all those things will manifest through that. But these all start with ideas, and we have to share that idea and we have to stand firm on that idea generationally. That's when you'll start seeing the bricks that stack up to form that pyramid. I don't want to get too long with it because y'all know I can. But I think that's Sean hit it on the head with we have to look at it this way. We just have to. But our potential to do it is there. We've already done it too many times before throughout history. So the idea of us creating a nation, a statehood, a small principle, whatever you want to label it as, yeah, we human beings, we have the potential to do that. What we have to do is remove a lot of the bittersweet ideologies that we have. We love being Black, but we love being Black because we was taught to hate being Black. Do you get what I mean? So if we can just remove that hatred of the self and just love being alive and being human, half the battle of that is won. All this comes with ideas that we feed each other. That's the biggest thing that we're really battling is there's a lot of ideas being spread. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are destructive. Which ideas are going to serve the overall? The definition that Sean read earlier about what is a conscious community. I don't know what he was pulling from that, but the benefit of the whole. You can't build a nation without it being whole.
Right.
So that's where we have to walk to, and we have to set that idea and standard.
Right.
And I don't want to get too long-winded. So
Sutek and then
Hey, before we interject, I want to give Street Scholar. There's a book written by the University of Kemet Press that I would recommend to infuse in this particular conversation. That I think that would help you in your question. The name of the book is called "What Must Be Done."
Good book, great book.
Okay, who is it written by?
University of Kemet Press. Now, hold on for a second. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna put it in this chat, and I'm gonna put it in the chat room for the people. Okay. So I'm gonna give you, but if you want to write it down, you can write it down. It's called "What Must Be Done" by the University of Kemet Press.
Okay.
All right, brother Sutek, and then we'll hear from Sister CK.
Hey, peace, family. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Peace.
Lafayette B, peace, family. I just want to say, Sean touched. I want to reiterate a point that Sean touched on just a minute ago. I feel like teaching the babies right now should be our end goal. I think end goals should be generational. It's I think it's too much for us to try to build a whole end goal for everybody. I think this should be generational. This generation, we need to be focused on teaching the babies, getting some more uh, proper historians, getting some more proper, like the brother said, some people, carpenters that can lay buildings and foundations. We need more scientists in the lab. We need more brother. We need more Rick Kittles. You know what I mean? We need
Agreed.
those. So we gotta teach the babies. That should be our generation's end goal. So after that, then the next generation can have their end goal. Well, we need to focus on one point at a time. And I agree on him saying I feel like we need to start in our own household. You know what I mean? And that goes back to teaching the babies. Once you start in your own household, then you spread out to your extended family and your community, and then it just permeate from there. You know what I mean? But to try to have a complete end goal for all our people, I don't think that's where we at right now. To try to start a nation right now, I don't think we at that point. You know what I mean? We all over the place. Is misinformation being disseminated all over the place? Is people saying that we ain't Africans? Is people trying to take up different cultures that they have no relation to? Like we just not there right now. Our focus, our main goal should be teaching these babies, getting them African centered, and getting them on the path to creating for their next generation, for their generation and the generation after them. So I feel like that's where we should start at, instead of more worrying about an end goal for all our people. Because like Sean said too, we're a tribal people. We are not gonna all agree on everything, and that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So that's just my 2 cents on it. And as far as the conscious community, I feel like we're not gonna be able to save everybody. And that's cool. That's cool with me because I look at it as quality over quantity. You know what I mean? We gotta accept the fact that everybody don't want to learn. We in an age where attention spans are low. Entertainment is valued over education. Um, Me personally, learning excites me. Just learning anything. It don't have to be necessarily about Africa. It can be about birds. Like I don't care. I set a goal every day to try to learn something new. And I feel like if we all do that, then we'll all be in a better place. But we got to hold on to the people that want to learn and not be so concerned about those that don't want to learn. We got to leave them behind. We got to leave them behind in the dust and keep going. Like Sneb said, if we can reach 5 people with any given presentation or any given live stream that we do, that is success. That is success because more than likely those one of those 5 people are going to spread the word. Either they're going to spread the word of the channels or they're going to spread the word of the information. And that's what we're looking for anyway. So I feel like we need to keep pushing. You know what I mean? Don't let none of that stuff get us discouraged. um Y'all inspire me. You, brother Kofi, you, brother Sean, y'all inspire me. Y'all, to be honest, y'all are the only reason why I even participate in these presentations, and you know what I mean? Because before, when I was listening to SETI, it's just something that wasn't resonating with me. But when I found y'all and I found real scholarly information, okay, they listen sources, they vetting sources, they got proper methodology. Okay, this is correct. That hollering and screaming, you know what I mean? That's entertaining for a while, but this is where it's at. So I just feel like we gotta combat the misinformation because with that, I think will help bring more entertainment. People want to hear daggers and all that, you know what I mean? So I feel like correcting the misinformation from a lot of these other platforms and a lot of these other people will help with the entertainment situation while also teaching at the same time. So, you know, y'all got to go back into the archives of the Mossi Warrior Clan, Kofi Pasi TV, and MBK, because I mess with MBK tough too. So, as many Jews, they might not be presented as quote unquote daggers or whatever, but as many Jews in them. If you pay attention, you will catch. As many of them. So y'all got to go back into the archives, subscribe, like, share the shows, everything, because that's the only support that these brothers is asking for. They ain't asking for no money. They ain't asking for no PayPal. The channels is not monetized. It ain't no super chats. I mean, all we ask is that you tune in, you like and share the show, and you learn something. So hopefully we get a couple of new subscribers to these channels after this build, and y'all continue to spread the word. That's all I had to say.
Peace. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, man.
Agree.
Yeah, brother.
That's how you know it's love. They not asking for no money. Do y'all hear that? Not monetizing any kind of way. They ain't got no account on Patreon, nothing. This ain't no super chat. That's how you know it's love. The intent is real. Like those are the things that we need to start praising in the community. I digress.
Hey, real quick before whoever go, I'm gonna tell you how serious it is. I'm just speaking just for me. This ain't gonna include nobody else on the panel or nobody else on the team. I've spent thousands of dollars on books. Thousands of dollars on books. I'm not the PDF guy. I have access to PDFs, but I have a problem with paying attention to a PDF. I will crack open a book and read the book religiously, but that I can't do the PDF. So what I'm saying is I have not asked one person for a dime. I just ordered some more books. I don't even know where I'm gonna put a lot of these books that I got. But
Send me a book, Sean. I'll hold them for you.
Once upon a time, our people who put us on this pathway, the foundation. I'm going to say the ancestors that built the path, right? They uh, dug up the road, laid the cement, all of that, did the groundwork. They collected books, not to collect books, but to also read and review the works that was in those books. So they profess to have these really huge libraries. That was considered worth something. Brother Ben, Black Panther, right, has one book that he got that I think I found it for him that he paid like $140 for. One book. It's out of print. We went on Amazon, and Kofi can verify this right now. We went on Amazon and looked at all the other places. The one book that I helped him find cost over $500 and something.
Mm-hmm.
The book that he and I got together, because I got the book, the Dabia book.
Mm-hmm.
Before God, there was Dabia. That book, if you look up that book right now, that book for a few $100s.
Yeah,
So they are still placing a value on these resources because someone is looking for them and they are in high demand.
Yep. Yep. So we look at books all the time. I mean, he ain't the only one. I mean, people can go back to my page, my Facebook page, and I used to post books every week. Me buying books, and I done grown a tolerance to the PDFs. I mean, I used to couldn't focus with. I'd rather have a hard copy book, but I got some shelves. You go walk in my hallway right now. I'll show some of the people on the panel. I got hundreds of books on my bookshelves over here. I hadn't ordered it in a while, but I got hundreds of books. I think I got probably about 12 or 1300 books on that bookshelves. And I got about 500 or 600 PDFs that I bought and PDFs that I done swapped off other books with other individuals. But go ahead, Sister CK. We want to hear from you as well, Sister CK. You still on the panel? She might have.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me
Shawnee.
okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, just making sure. Peace to the panelists, peace to the chat.
Peace.
Thought I'd swing by. I wasn't initially. I was just gonna listen. Let Juju have all the shine. But I'm gonna try to touch on a little bit of everything. I ain't gonna be too long-winded. But I'm starting off with the title of your stream. Is the conscious community stuck in time? Is the conscious community producing anything? I don't know if I would go so far as to say that they're not producing anything, because that's kind of subjective. What I may think is nothing could be something to other people. I feel like what has been produced within that community over the years, even before I kind of came around, it's a double-edged sword. Some of it is good, some of it's bad. But I do agree with the main points that you kind of touched on, Kofi, where you were saying how it seems like we're kind of stuck, like we're doing the same thing, which is the truth. I mean, the debates, they're entertaining. The back and forth, it can be entertaining. And, sometimes, shockingly, people do actually end up learning a little bit in the midst. But Sean is right. At some point in time, we have to learn. We can't keep entertaining the, as Unc like to say, the buffoonery. And I mean, it is what it is. Certain channels, it's clear that what they're doing is they're just trying to get views, they're trying to get likes, they're trying to get it's just a money thing with the YouTube, with the monetization and whatnot, if you're monetizing your channel. Now, if you're not monetizing your channel, you have a tendency to pretty much trust those channels a little bit more, because they're not doing the whole Patreon thing. They're not trying to get in your pockets, but maybe they have a business on the side, and maybe they're trying to bring attention to their business. But I do agree a lot of what Juju is saying as well, about how channels like, of course, your channel, Kofi, Mossi Warrior Clan, New Black Knowledge, I guess why not even Amon Ross Squad, and even Unk's channel, that all of y'all kind of do deserve a little bit more views, a little bit more likes, a little bit more subscriptions, people coming through and interested in the information. And that's where I'm gonna start leaning a little bit more towards what Street Scholar was saying as well, when he was saying that, you gotta be entertaining. And it's just the truth. Now, when you're going to school for like college, high school, middle school, whether the information is interesting or not, you have to pay attention. You have to learn the material. I'm gonna be honest, like the majority of the classes I took in college were boring as hell. I had this conversation with Unc like a couple weeks ago, where I was telling him like, yo, I had no idea. If you would have told me when I was in college, yo, like the information that I was learning in college, that I was going to have to use that to combat the pseudo ideology in the Black community, I would have laughed at you. I would have been like, nah. Because I told him the truth of the matter is, I just paid attention enough in class to just pass the test. And I was like, yo, it was so much stuff, that
Facts.
conversations that I was having with Unc, and just stuff that we were even, talking about even on his streams, where I'm like, oh my God, like I completely forgot, Unc, that I learned this in college. Like I completely forgot this. 150%. Like you end up talking about stuff, and it's something that you should know the answer to, but you don't know the answer to it because you completely forgot it. Because like I told him, this stuff does not get you a job. It don't pay the bills. You just learn it, pass the test, you get your degree, and you try to get a job and make money so you can survive in this capitalist system that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say I will lean on what Street Scholar was saying, is that y'all have to be entertaining. People do not have to come to your channel. People have to go to middle school. You have to go to high school. You have to pay attention in class. You have to learn the material. They don't have to come to y'all channel. So some people, yes, inadvertently will end up coming to y'all channel because they're interested, or because they want to support, or because they actually care about the information. They're actually invested into it. And I understand, what y'all are saying, and I agree with y'all when y'all are saying that, hey, the whole point of your channels is not the views, not the likes. Y'all are trying to get the information out there. But you may have to do some jujitsu a little bit to try to get your word out there. When I tried to start doing the whole YouTube thing last year, like when I was just doing the research, not even really doing what I needed to do to get the numbers that I was initially thinking about trying to do, just doing the research on what I needed to do. I was like, dear God, you cannot have a job doing this. I was gonna be a gaming YouTuber, real talk. But I was trying to take a different perspective with it. I was trying to present video games that had an educational element to it, something that kids can play, adults can play, something that you can learn something from, that has some kind of benefit to it. But when I started researching into, like, you cannot have a job. Like, the gamers that make a shit ton of money, that get a lot of views and stuff, they don't have jobs. You cannot have a job doing this. Like, if you're trying to get numbers like that, because the majority of what you're going to be doing as a YouTuber is marketing, production, audio. Like, it was taking me a whole week to do one video. And I was doing an article to go along with it. So I had to be my own editor. I had to type up the information. I had to find the information. I had to proofread it. I had to find photos. I had to edit the photos to try to make them look somewhat interesting for the article, make it look somewhat interesting for the YouTube video. I had to get the video for the game. So I had to have the game too. And then I had to cut the video up. It was taking a whole 24 hours to cut up an hour of video, because you have to do jump cuts, you have to do pull-ins, you have to have some people like to have background music. You have to I think the one thing they call the jump cuts. Those are really, really popular, and you don't even notice it when you're watching a YouTube video, but that is a really popular production move that a lot of people do in their videos, the jump cuts, where stuff just kind of jump up at you on screen, pop up, boom, showing you a web page, pop up, boom, going back to gameplay.
So Sister CK, so I mean, and you saying entertaining. So, and I know, with the post I made, I see where you did it. I mean, so what are you suggesting? Because I mean, I'll be honest. To
I think
me,
y'all have
it's
the
entertaining.
potential.
Entertaining is just a distraction. And then we not.
You could do a little bit of both. I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
y'all have the potential to do both.
So when
Y'all
we
not gonna
go.
like what you're gonna have to do it though.
Right, exactly, and that's something. And I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know about anybody else in the Mossi. I'm only one member of the Mossi, so and I'm only one member of Coastal Piside TV family and affiliate. So I'm just speaking for me personally. I'm not interested in trying to entertain anyone. You know what I'm saying? Entertain. I'm not trying to compromise myself for nothing. I don't do that with anywhere I go. People tell you I'm gonna stand on what I'm gonna stand on. I'm not gonna compromise myself. I don't give a damn who in the building. I'm not gonna compromise myself. So I'm saying
I
I'm
think
not.
there's a way around it though. I think there's only two ways I can think of it. Either one, you could have a separate channel that does that leads people to this channel, or B, you could just find a way to be entertaining without going into that level of entertainment. Like, for example, like when I look at y'all streams, like this live stream right here, right now, when you like click on the area where it shows the title, it shows the category. The category for this stream is entertainment, but y'all ain't doing no entertainment on y'all stream. This is educational.
Right. It does that now because of the Zoom. I don't know why it be doing that when we go to the Zoom, but because we're not going straight from
like hashtags, that helps. Like I said, like if you check out YouTube, like they have like this group called, I think it's called YouTube Creators, and they give tips and all that good stuff on how to try to get numbers coming to your channel. Like one thing that I was starting to do that I didn't really get too deep into it, because like by the time I started learning what I needed to do and started doing it, I kind of gave up on it because in between trying to look for a different job, and I didn't want to spend so much time on the production versus looking for a new job. So I just stopped doing it all together and just focused on getting a new job last year.
Right.
So a couple of different things that I would look into as well is, like I said, the YouTube creator thing, that's really good. Instagram, That's very popular. So is Twitter, very popular. You know, and
Hey,
then as
CK.
well, what's the other thing? Reddit. There's a lot of little groups on Reddit to where that's all they're about is promoting your channel. And I'm
CK.
in one of these groups. I forget what it's called, but I have to look at my Reddit to see what it's called. I'm in one of those groups where they actually do critiques. So when I was trying to actually improve to make a better quality video, I was going on the group, then boom. Usually they have like a set up a process where you would have to basically watch other people's videos and you would have to comment on them. And then you put your video on there and then everybody has to watch your video and comment on it. So that's one way to get your views up, but also get critiques
Yeah,
of people too. And
I
I'm not
really
gonna
ain't interested in that. Here's my thing. I just want to interject because I'm not saying that you're not making a good point because some people can relate to your actual. But I'm gonna name 3 people, and I'm gonna say this for a reason. Just hear me out real quick. I'm gonna say Sanjeti, Wujawu, and Asar. Neither of the 3 of them will lower themselves to meet someone at their level. They will profess to and adhere to challenge you to meet them at their level. There's a reason for that. And the reason is that we have met people at their level before and they continue to stay stuck and not develop. But if we raise the bar and we challenge people to raise their level, then we're making progress. We can make progress as a people. I'm not seeing it as I'm not saying that for any other particular reason other than to say that will help us resolve some of the methodology issues. See what I'm saying? Because I think that yes, you're right. We could entertain because I can get on here and pick with Kofi all day long and people are laughing
nah.
at us and so on and
That's
so
what I'm
forth.
saying.
Now,
Y'all don't need to go to that level.
hypothetically, right. Hypothetically speaking. But I'm saying that yeah, we could do that, but some people will feel that well, not some people, but some of us will feel like the integrity is not there, like we're compromising the scholarship because of the seriousness that our forefathers had laid down for us to even be in a position to disseminate this information, critique that information, and then put that information before the people. So it's hard for us to adhere to someone else's style, right? Um, Not to say that we can't do it. We don't want to compromise that perspective of the time that it took to go into all this roadmap to deal with what we had to deal with. But you know, I live by something that I was taught that I had to learn that developed over time by basically reading Saim Hotep's works, uh, having Wujawa as a teacher, having Sanjeti as a teacher as well, and a few other people that I would consider to be prominent teachers because of the roles that they actually played in facilitating that change and or that development in me per se. So you know, some people are really good at meeting people where they are. You know, aka you know, he would profess to be also what street scholars name is, a street scholar.
Yeah, I feel you. But
So
nah, I'm not saying y'all need to go to that level, Sean, but I can see how y'all have the potential to make the material that y'all present in your videos a little bit more engaging and more entertaining, because if you're doing a presentation and you're doing it in a monotone voice, one, that's going to turn people off. Most people aren't going to watch it. If the presentation comes off as a lecture, that's your whole point of it to be a lecture, cool. But if it comes off as a lecture, it may be kind of hard to get people engaging, because I'm just using, only reason why I'm using gaming as an example is because one, I'm a gamer, and then two, gaming is probably one of the most popular YouTube things to watch on YouTube. I would say the number one would probably be music. Then after that, it would be gaming, and then after that would be vlogs. Them 3 right there, disgustingly popular.
I,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
I checked
So
into. a lot of
Because
what
one thing that they do, like on the gaming, for example, like whether it's a YouTube video or streaming, like they have like giveaways. That's a good way to get people to join. Like, hey, we get 200 likes, so we get, you know, when we reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away X amount of this or that. See, that's where the sponsorships come in. You know, you start getting with certain businesses and getting sponsorships and whatnot. I mean, that's something that you can look into. Like, that's just if and only if y'all want to try to increase y'all numbers like that.
Yeah, but
Which
what
you
you
could do both.
saying,
I think y'all can be educating and be a little entertaining, but
yeah,
also try to make some revenue on the side too as well.
yeah, well, yeah, that's what you're saying. Like, you know, we not we don't monetize the channel. We're not asking for no money. But what you saying is like, I looked at what you talking about because I actually wanted to start a separate channel. So I did some research. Not for it wasn't going to be education. It's going to be cars. I like cars. So I've been looking at certain and studying certain channels, and studying the dynamics of how they make their money off a certain amount of views. And those individuals that I follow that deal with the cars, like taking cars, getting sponsorship, fixing cars, getting partnership with other car dealerships, these guys and women, they don't work. And like you saying, so it goes into a lot with the production and edit, and a lot of those videos like you was doing, those are uploads. So
Yeah.
it would be kind of easy for us
So they
to
probably
add.
paying someone to do that for them.
Right. And it will be easy, for us to do that, upload. And once we upload, we can upload certain things. We can upload music behind certain things that may pop out, that might catch people before the video may start, certain catchy thumbnails, certain pictures like you mentioned. So, I mean, I studied all this dealing with the car channel that I wanted to start. But like I said, that'll take away from the other stuff that I would have to do. Because like you said, a lot of those individuals, they don't work. And they make money. They make
Oh
money.
yeah, they make a lot of money.
Right. They make money. And a lot of those guys that I looked at, they got 600 to 2.5 million subscribers. And they pulling in every bit of between $30,000 to $100,000 a month by the subscribers and the amount of times the channel is being hit monthly. I know a few channels that I follow within 2 or 3 hours. These guys are at 30K in 3 hours. 3 hours of uploading video, and this is just in one day. And then I go back and look later on. These guys are at 100K, 200K. You know what I'm saying, off of one video. But I see they have to take time and strategize and edit it and add this and that and make catchy phrases and all this stuff in order to give people and spend their own money when you're dealing with the cars. You know what I'm saying? By building your car, getting your car wrap, or muffler delete, or interior vinyls, decals, and all this other type of thing. So, but that ain't what we trying to do. I ain't trying to make a
And
living off
what I
of.
was also going to suggest too, Kofi, is another thing that y'all could look into doing, which was something that I was going to do too, right before I kind of gave up on doing the YouTube thing for a little bit. Was that you can look into collabing with people too. Like what some people like to do is they'll collab with like gamers, like they'll collab with someone that has the same amount of viewers as them. So they end up sharing viewers. Like some viewers will end up going to sub at the other person's channel, or collabing with someone that is way more popular than you. Like for example, so like with you with Kofi Pie Side TV and Sean with the Mossi Warrior Clan, y'all two could collab with someone like, for example, someone that also does something similar to what y'all are doing, but has a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, like the one YouTuber, Home Team,
Yeah,
like
I
him,
like
for
that too.
example,
I like
or
home.
even the other dude from Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't necessarily have to even be an upload. I would make it like a live stream kind of thing. And then, but that may
And
not work because I've never
there's
really
a
seen them do
huge
live streams because they may not be able to get a whole lot of
home
viewers off
team.
of that.
Home team got some good stuff, but there's a really big difference between us and home team when it comes to the information. So it's kind of hard for us to do a video like home team for the simple fact that we dealing with some primary sources that they may not be privy to, or multiple sources that we've collected through a lot of our research on said subjects. That's not a diss or none of that to them or anything like that.
Hey, Sutek,
You are absolutely correct, Sean.
Yeah, that might be something you can that might be something that you can teach him. You know what I mean?
You never know. Like something that y'all have in common that y'all all can agree on, and y'all do a video on it, and y'all share the views, share the subscribers. That's what a lot of gamers do, definitely. And another thing that y'all could think about doing as well, which I already know Kofi not gonna like this, but I would suggest this. Well, three negative things that I'm gonna suggest that could work so far as getting more people to come y'all way. And you never know, you might be end up being able to convert some people. You know, I know y'all don't really care for Sinetter, but it's like I told Unc, I said, yo, like if Sinetter does his thing or whatever, yo, use him for the views. You should be name dropping your channel every time you go on there. Name drop all the people that you consider you cool with. Name drop them every time. Every time you get to talking about something, oh well, on the Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel, they say X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Use them for the views. Why not? You know what I mean? He already using you to debate such and such to get views on his channel so he can get people to watch the channel to monetize off of the ad revenue and all that good stuff. So why not use them? That's one way. Two, what you could do is you could look at some of the most popular YouTube videos out there and then try to make a video on it. And I think you could put it in the tags and in the hashtags as well, but try to incorporate it into what y'all already talk about on your channel. And the third thing that you could do, which I'm not gonna like as well, is like what MBK did on their channel when they were kind of combating the abos a little bit. You know what I mean? You still dropping facts. You still dropping the knowledge. People are still learning, but they also see what not to do when they see how you're interacting with people that are putting out misinformation.
Yeah,
Hey, see
we'll
here.
never do that over here. We did one thing. Kofi did women's circumcision, and we let some women on the panel who's channel. And Kofi ain't gonna because that ain't gonna do nothing but disrupt the whole integrity of the channel and the show for us to even stoop to a level of trying to have some influence on the channel that we know we ain't gonna get none out of as a people. Like this is a
That's why you don't do
content.
shows like that all the time.
Nah, this a content channel. So we're not integrating the idea of what everybody else do. I think that's what makes it different. So what we try to deal with is to facilitate a perspective with primary documents from specifically parts of West Africa that are seldom talked about or even mentioned. And we do a good job at what we do. However, your perspective is taken in for the simple fact that might work for maybe. I think that might work for maybe one or two of our other members, but that might not work for the whole collective. You got to remember, Kofi is a Baptist preacher, so in his perspective, he's going to preach, he's going to teach and preach. So get some hallelujah amens out of Kofi. You know what I mean? You're gonna get that. Out of me, you just gonna get, I'm gonna be more straight to the point with the primaries, and I'm gonna let the evidence hit you upside the head. If you go on a tangent about something, it's going to be more so centered around the things that I know the most on, which would be the continental kidnapping and enslavement of Africans and the involvement of the Portuguese, which is the primary problem that we haven't been able to solve.
Hey, Kofi. Hey, Kofi.
Check is echoing a great deal.
Hey, let me turn y'all up real quick. And this is a question I wanted to ask. Because I know y'all the masters of this African history, and I'm a history buff. So I want to turn it up a little bit. I was listening to Yvette and Tone, right? And she said that the Nigerians, which I heard someone say we're tribal people, which white folks are tribal too. You forget they had all their, discretions also. They tribal.
I'm not gonna call them tribal. I have another word for them. They're Hellenistic.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me ask you this question. Tone and Yvette said that in Nigeria, it was different tribes that was selling us into slavery. And I'm thinking, okay, and they saying it was in the millions. I'm like, okay, so how did this happen? To where each tribe, okay, we fighting. I can understand that all Africans are not the same, and you got different, ideologies like this. I'm like, in the millions, okay, and then I said, okay, then these Portuguese first it had to come through the Muslims, right? Because they was over there before the transatlantic slave trade, right? It was the Muslim trade. I'm like, okay,
slave trade, right?
I got it, Kofi. I got it, Kofi.
And then I'm gonna get him, and then I'm gonna get him too, cause I hate this. Go ahead, get him, and I'm gonna get him.
Okay, so
you ain't gotta hate.
Listen to me though, cause I'm a child, so don't do me bad. Now.
Yeah. That's why I ain't tripping. You keep saying you're a child, so you positioning it like, look, man, I'm ignorant of this. This is what I'm being told. Right. So I get it.
And I'm 43 years old, so I ain't meaning like I'm a child, but I'm a child.
No, we talking about information. We got you.
Okay, so I'm like, okay, and I look at it, I say, okay, it must have been the gun to make when the Portuguese come and we already fighting between each other or whatever, and then they selling guns and we can get this gun and we'll give you a slave, or we can get this trade and give you slaves. I'm like, wow. And I love Africa. That's all. I want to go travel to Africa, but I'm like, did they really just, what was going on in that time period? Somebody explain to me, please.
All right. Oh, okay. It ain't gonna be no wiggle room for you to add to, so I'm finna go ahead and go in. All right. Now, at the beginning of our Holocaust, all right? At the beginning of our Holocaust, you had the Portuguese ran into by accident some people that they saw that did not look like them at all. Okay, what evolved out of that event was the first kidnappings of 10 Africans. One of them was a prominent figure who ended up begging for the release and negotiating the release in trade for others. Okay, from that led to other things. However, in other parts of Africa, there was already things taking place. So when I'm specifically going to deal with West Africa, because when you start going to East Africa, you got to talk about people, religion, and I don't want to get into all of that.
Go ahead, because I'm gonna get in both. I'm gonna get in Central and West Africa. I'm gonna get in Central.
I ain't finna give you no room.
All right, go ahead.
The Muslims were the key players in the Holocaust of all of Africa from a perspective of when they came in, they wanted to do this, that, and the third. Right? You had the Greco-Romans and all of them. However, the more what people call Moors were already introducing us to Europe as slaves.
So we're not the Moors. We're not. Let's get that out of the way. So we're not the Moors. West Africans are really not the Moors, is what you're saying. I keep hearing
the Moors.
Now we have to. Okay. Remember where you said you are in this information.
Gotcha.
We have to keep it in perspective. When we start jumping around, this is why I'm doing it. When we start jumping around, we may lose you or confuse you. So I don't want to do that, because then that wouldn't be good for you.
Okay, gotcha.
So here's what happened. Trade was once about resources. The white people, the Portuguese, or whatever you want to call them, were not allowed inland, which means they didn't know what was 100 feet from the sand from where they were to do their business. We negotiated with the Portuguese from a distance. We traded out of trust, meaning you wanted something from me, gold mostly, and salt and other things. You wanted these resources from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put what I will accept for what you left. If you leave it there, then I know you don't accept it. Then I will bring something else back and see if you would accept that. So you accepted that, then I'm going to go, knowing what I've gave you. Over time, over time, the Portuguese had this ideology of this mythical character named Prester John. They were looking for Prester John from the jump, but in the process of them looking for Prester John, they had missionaries with them that also were spreading their religion in small samples, right? Just for communicative perspective. You're a baby in this. This is the key proponent for anybody that wants to understand trade. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are all trade religions.
Right.
They are all, what do I mean by trade religion? Okay? They were introduced in trading markets with these people, like you see the Hebrew Israelites standing on a corner in the market setting, professing a savior. They didn't have shit to trade, excuse my language, but they could sell you on a religion. But they had Prester John in their back pocket. The Portuguese were so-called chasing Prester John all through West Africa to the South Africa, back up into East and Central Africa, all the way around Africa, until they have made their way through Africa, but still were not inland. Over time, trade transferred from natural resources to bodies. Under the banner of Islam, the Portuguese were trading with some of the earliest slave raiders, which were from a particular sect in Ghana. And they knew that some people practiced the traditional systems and customs of the land before the influence of Islam. Now, they were tribal people. They didn't see each other as the same because they all had different cultural values and things of that nature. And what took place was it was very easy for these people in the name of Islam to enslave someone else that did not practice Islam. They did that. They did it. But they did it out of ignorance. Earlier on, they did it out of ignorance. Through time, this continued to happen. So when they say that people were sold into slavery, they're not lying, but they do not understand the context of what they're saying to everyone else when they make that statement. It has ramifications when you play on people's ignorance. So to say that they sold somebody without qualifying that statement, you're basically misleading folk unintentionally or intentionally. The Portuguese and others changed the parameters of trade through other antics that took place. So they needed bodies after a certain period of time where they were trying to develop something in the new world. You have to remember, during the age of discovery, the Papyrus Bull comes into play. So now you need to understand what the Papyrus Bull is and who made it right to enslave another people. Okay, so the Papyrus Bull had to be signed by someone, and but they also needed permission through the gun, yes. Through the development of technology, yes. The European had an advantage because they were playing a different game than the traditional African from their perspective. because of who the African is, right? They were already at war with some of the people that they had differences with. So it was not like they were just selling someone that they had a problem with. I mean, that they didn't have a problem with. They were selling people that they had a problem with.
Okay.
But they didn't understand the magnitude of what they were doing until later, when they realized that these people wasn't coming back. This wasn't no traditional. This wasn't no traditional trade. Whereas me, you're my son. I'm just speaking hypothetically. You're my son, and CK is my daughter. I trade you and CK for a goat, 10 chickens, and a sheep. I then go back. My daughter and my son is now working with the dude down the street, adhering to whatever rule or anything that he had to say at that time, right? You're serving this dude, but in your servitude, you earn the right to develop your own family and ties in that dude community. Unless I came back and I got you. Once I developed the things that I needed with the resources I got from him to make sure that I got my kids back, and I still got my stuff. So now that I'm able to repay him, I repay him, I get my kids, I go back on about my business. But if I didn't get my kids when I go back, or my kids decided that they want to adhere to the customs and the traditions of the people of where they are in that community or that tribe, then they moved on. It was servitude. But what happened with us was gangster. It was the get down or lay down mentality. And over time, their technology developed with the gun to where they had automatic rifles, and we just now getting their weak guns. So yes, you had Africans that would change religions just to be in control of trade. So they would adhere to the trade religion. We already at war with these people. We don't know who these people are, so it's not like they're our own people. They were not our own people. So when we talk about the enslavement of our own with people being in our own, we actually have Street Scholar. We actually have a list of videos that are in a row almost. You need to go back into the archives and you can pull from some of those presentations the answers to your questions because we specifically shed light on those.
Okay.
Now, the Portuguese are the biggest infiltrators in the whole game. Then come the Spanish, then come all the other European nations. You must understand comprehending what Tone and Yvette is saying is specifically revolving around a time period that is untold to you, where the mindset of comprehension had changed, and now they begin to know what was actually happening. So when Yvette and Tone talk about we sold each other knowingly, or if they say knowingly, right, you're going to find yourself in a period of the illegal slave trade era when the economy had changed for the African, and all they knew at that time was trading the tribes of people and going in there and doing these slave raids. So now the British says we abolishing the slave trade, followed by other nations. You know what I mean? But you still had people that needed slaves because they developing a whole new world. So the illegal slave trade era could be one that Yvette and Tone are talking about because somebody still had developed an economy and they needed to go ahead and deal with that. And
Gotcha.
because they couldn't deal with that, those things transpired, bro. They changed the economy and they put us against things. Now I did leave some wiggle room for Kofi to go in, but I do also want you to know that that is a that is something that it takes more time to explain. So we're not going to get a short version of a complicated issue.
I
But we
understand.
try, yeah. But what we try to do is lay the framework down for where you can at least go back and grab some video or the content that we've laid down on the issue and build from there, brother. And then that will help you in your knowing. So, you ain't gonna get us hype with it. You might get Kofi hype with it, but you ain't gonna get me hype with it because this is something that I've been researching for years, trying to understand. When I came into consciousness, my reason for coming into it was I needed to know what I was before I became a Christian. And then once I started to discover those things, I had other questions that I gained answers to. And then from that, I ran into the Kemet on trial debates and how I seen the Amon Ra squad being really the masterminds behind that debate because Polite was adhering to the Amon Ra squad and he was allowing them who told him what to go get in that whole part to kill the Hebrews. All the primary source documents they knew about, and they told Polite where to go get them and how to deal with them from that perspective. So I said, wait a minute, they talking about methodology, they talking about sources, they talking about primaries, they talking about all the things that all the other people that was on those YouTube shows and things of that nature that you would listen to. Talking about something totally different. So I respected that. And then I took that serious. So then I started to develop a pattern. And then as I met Brother Ben. Brother Ben turned me on to some books. I ran into Brother Wujawu in the Metanetra group that somebody had put me in. And then from there, you know what I'm saying, Brother Ben and Brother Wujawu to Unk, and then to Asar, to Jetty, to, the whole squad started pouring in their information on me and trying to help raise people up, so to say, to get everybody up so that we can challenge a lot of the misinformation and build that army for that, to be those vanguards for the truth seekers.
So we
So
are we really that type? Are we really that type of people? Meaning that you remember on that movie Django when the dude, the owner in Candyland told old boy, he say, now this my daddy had this slave that he served my daddy and whatever. He said, I remember him saying that if I was that slave, I would have cut my daddy from ear to ear. Right? Because remember he had that skull. He said, you look at these three little notches at the bottom of his skull. These are how these people are. They're just they're not warlike. They're we're subtle. They just like to have a good time. This is just it's in our nature. They're in West Africa. Did we write anything? Did we have any writing? Was it there any
hey,
was it no reason for
Don't
writing?
compare us to movies.
You see what I'm saying?
Slow down, slow
I
down.
want to
Hold on,
interject about
somebody
the
making noise
slavery
in the
point
ground.
real quick. I just want to say
Street.
something real quick because people get that really confused with this Yvette and Tone. I'm actually reading a book. I'll put it in the chat. What is African Voices of the Atlantic Slave Trade by Ann C. Bailey. That gives you a great perspective on it. And let's remember, we got to keep it separate. European chattel slavery and domestic servitude that took place in Africa are two totally different things. Okay? That's all I wanted to say.
Facts.
All right, so not to confuse anything because we can go in many directions, but I want to let Kofi go because he want to answer your question from a different perspective. But we're not the type of people that they painted you out to be. That would be a pseudo-scientific response that they use called scientific racism. Scientific racism is pseudo. Now, the development of scientific racism would teach you all of those things are what you are, right? So this is where the squad comes in at because they was the only ones in the community teaching scientific literacy and things of that nature so that you could capture that pseudoscience. Now, it is true that white people at one period of time developed these race theories to make themselves look superior and other people inferior. So let's not move away from what you initially asked. Let's stay right where the slavery thing is because that That would give you some type of context, and we do want you to go back and view a lot of the videos ahead when you ask one question and then go in a whole other direction. So, Kofi, you can elaborate.
All right, well, I ain't gonna go too far, like you said. You didn't give me much bigger room, but I mean, and I'll just touch on Central Africa, then I go to West Africa. When you look at the in the 14th century, when you look, we talk about the Portuguese, and after this, when you get a chance, just go back in the Mossi archives. Me and Sean did a lot of videos where we deal with the Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? So Portuguese and the Spaniards. But when you go and you look at the Portuguese, but let's go to we look at the Portuguese when they go into Central Africa. When they go into Central Africa, you can say the same thing. You can see that, and Sean just touched on this a little bit, but we'll talk about Central Africa. When you had the Portuguese, they come into Central Africa and then they go into West Africa. When they go into Central Africa during the 14th century, you begin to, like he said, they began to trade. They began to trade. The Portuguese mission was to go into West Africa, get trade the different trade and get the natural resources, right? So you start to see them trading with the Africans in Central Africa. So now it's no longer like Sean said. It's no longer about what they can trade, where they were trading different things back and forth when they wanted bodies. So the king of Central Africa, we started to study Central Africa. That's why if you look at most of the people in America, the African American, they either predominantly of us have West African genes, some of us have West African and Central African genes because not only was the African coming from West Africa, you had many that came from Central Africa. You had more from West Africa, but you had Africans that was coming from Central Africa that was enslaved as well. When you look at it, you start to see, well, they was trading back and forth with each other. They no longer wanted to trade for the natural resources. They wanted bodies. So at a particular time, we don't sensationalize African culture or romanticize African culture. We fought with our brothers and sisters, just like today. I fight with my brother. I fight with my sister. I have a disagreement with my dad, and my dad has a disagreement with me. And so we're not romanticizing. So we did fight amongst each other. Kinsmen did fight amongst each other. And when you look at a particular time when we was fighting amongst each other, we had people that I'll say became prisoners of war. They became prisoners of war, and if your tribe fought against my tribe for whatever dispute that may have happened, and my tribe won the war, you will become a prisoner of a war. Those people will become prisoner of war, but those people will not be slaves as some people were portrayed uh, them to be. These people roamed around freely. These people was able to marry inside the society that they lost the war in. After they worked out a particular time, they was able to integrate into the society, or they was able to leave and go back to their own tribes. Okay, so now the people that are and Sean touched on this a little bit too. So now you have those people that became prisoners of war because kinsmen began to fight amongst one another. But again, these people was not whipped. These people was not raped. These people was not kept separate from other people. Again, they was able to work. They was able to roam freely. They was able to marry inside the society and everything. And after they worked out, that they was able to leave. So once the Portuguese didn't want bodies anymore, want to trade whatever commodity that the people had, they wanted bodies. So the prisoners of war, the kings began to give those individuals to the Europeans. These Europeans, and what people would say that we gave, or we enslaved, or we called. Well, I'll get to that. But when you go to them starting to give bodies, they began to give the prisoners of war because their whole thing was they thought that the European was going to use them for servitude for a certain period of time, and then they was able to go freely and roam and go home. They didn't know that they was going to be punished. They didn't know they was going to be whooped. They didn't know they was going to be fed cruel. They didn't know one of these things until later on the king began to start to see if they started to give the prisoners of war. Then you had other people that came in and started to entice the Africans with other different things that the Africans that may not didn't have. So the poor Africans, or the people that didn't have much, these Portuguese came in and started enticing these people with certain types of material, mirrors, umbrellas, all these other different things. And they wanted these people to come and kidnap if you do this and kidnap, we'll give you this, that, and the third. If you so these people started giving prisoners of war into these individuals and didn't know exactly what the European was going to actually do to them. Then you get then let's say if you go to West Africa, you go to West Africa and you look at Queen Isabella and you look at King Ferdinand. You start to look at the Portuguese and you look at the Spaniard. You start to study the Iberian Peninsula. So you start to see that they'll take before they started shipping people off. They started taking people into these different fortresses or taking them to different places. And they started conditioning and started converting a different group of people to another different mindset. They started converting them to their religion. They started teaching their kids to up to a certain type of age. I forgot what the age range was where they went in, they taught these kids certain things, they taught these people certain things, they converted them, they conditioned them a certain type of way, and then they began to get these people to start doing their bidding because now they have conditioned the people or they have conditioned the kids, converted the kids to think a certain type of way. So now they can identify with their own people, and they begin to go in these new, I call them new Africans, these new converted Africans started to go in and kidnap other groups of Africans for the Spaniard and for the Portuguese. So when you hear people, and I can keep going because I can keep elaborating on certain situations, but when you hear people speak about certain subjects, they have to give you clarity on exactly what happened. You hear people say, okay, well, Africans kidnap their own people and what's name, but they never go into what happened, or even you go into certain types of conditions when you start to see where when you study certain things, when you're dealing with the art of war, and how they'll come in and they will take where they will come in and they'll push the people out in the bushes, or they'll cut off their food supplies. You know what I'm saying? So now they cut off their food supplies. So now the people were in destitute. So the people do whatever to keep them starving and dying to death. So there were different types of tactics and methods that was taken in order for our people to do certain things that happened. And it wasn't just on willy-nilly like these individuals, Tone and Yvette and other individuals will brush off and say, well, I don't want to hear that because Africans sold other slaves in the slave, but they never give you no context or what happened behind why certain African or certain types of certain ethnic groups did what they did during this certain period of time.
Hey, and to just put it more into historical perspective, everybody wasn't selling people. These was only like the royalty and the traders. Everybody wasn't selling people. So when you say Africans sold Africans or they sold their own people, like this wasn't everybody. This was the royal court, the king, his people, and the traders.
Mm-hmm.
The who?
Facts.
What about the people that fought against slavery? They never say that.
No,
they don't bring that up either.
They still end up being enslaved. The people that fought against the slave trade, some of them ended up being enslaved. I'm telling you, listen, we got it from two ways, brother. Religion and trade. And then the evilness behind, three ways. And then the evilness behind the European, because it was manipulative from day one. The European people be like, why y'all give the Muslims a pass? We don't.
Yeah.
The European just did it better than the Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah, but man,
they converted Muslims to Christianity.
Mm-hmm. And to his last question, there was never a part where we was docile as that scene projected us. Historically speaking, there wasn't a period where we didn't combat back.
Right.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Right. So they laid that out too. We just laid down. We didn't do nothing. We just laid down.
I think an interesting conversation that needs to manifest is the different methods used in two different historical time frames. How did we combat slavery before the Haitian Revolution? And then what was our methodologies towards liberation and equality afterwards? I think that would make a good conversation, because that'll allow us to put in all these different compartments that fit that subject.
Mm-hmm.
and bring clarity on a lot of this.
Yeah. Did we bring a little clarity to your street scholar? I see he's still in here. He must have walked away. But anyway, man, it's been a long, long, long show. I wasn't planning on being here on here this long, but it was a good, needed discussion, man. I appreciate everybody for jumping on the panel. But I'm finna call it a night. Um, Again, appreciate Sister Juju, Sister CK, Street Collar, Shaka Ra, Vasa, Sutek, Sean, and a few other panelists that we had. Sanel, peace to brother Sanel, appreciate you. The other brother that was on DSB 382 or something like that, I can't remember, but appreciate them for jumping on the panel. You know what I'm saying, and being a part of the discussion, giving their 2 cents, their input. Um, Appreciate everybody for tuning in to the channel. If you hadn't subscribed, please go and subscribe to Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We are a group, like-minded individuals who are um, teaching West African history, but now we specialize in West African history, but now we have branched out toward East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, and Central Africa, as well as here in America. So we have plethora of information in our South, East, West, North, and Central Africa, as well as information in the Caribbean, South America, and in North America. So please go and subscribe to the Monster Warrior Clan YouTube. Also, go subscribe to Kofi Pie-Side TV, is a channel that takes a black man, black woman, and black child Eurocentric mind and Africanize it. We have information on there that also dealing with Africa, African culture, African history, um, African way of life, even information in the Americas. So please go check out and support that channel. Also go check out Seshuma Ani Metanetra. I'm also a member as well as Sean, a member of the Seshuma Ani Metanetra group. We are like-minded individuals who are aspiring to be true scribes. So we are studying the language, which is called the running Kemet, and the writing script, which is called the Sesh Metanetra, which you may know as the hieroglyphs. So please go and subscribe to that channel as well. Please check out our website is also www.seshumaanimetanetcha. If you want to take the beginners class, you can sign up on Seshumaanimetanetcha and publish the beginners course book, the beginners course of Session Metanetra on there, as well as the publication we put out around in the 2016 debate. And also addressing Walter Williams. Has the meta been deciphered? Rebuttal to Walter Williams. You can also find that on there, as well as Emicat, who is a member of the SESU as well. Her penmanship book. Also check the Mossi Warrior Clan, our like page. We have a lot of good information on there. I hadn't put anything on there in a while, but Sean is the champion of that right now. Me and him was back and forth putting information on there daily, but I have fallen off these last 2 months where I hadn't posted anything on Mossi or even on my own page as I normally would do. But go check it out. We have a lot of historical information on that like page, so check out that like page. Um, as well, just please support the people that's on the platform that may have platforms. Please support their platforms and what they may have going on. Go support MBK, one of my favorite YouTube channels on YouTube right now, as well as the platforms I belong to, Masi, Seshu, and Kofi Paisa TV, man. And on that note, man, I want to say Black African Power to the family, man. Peace and love to everyone. Again, go like, subscribe, all of those channels, man. And we'll see y'all um, whenever. I don't know. I may come back next week and do something since y'all done revitalized me. So I may come back and do something. Also be on the lookout. Also, where I've been on a hiatus for the last month, I've still been working. And I've been talking about this book for a while and even stopped with the book. I'm working on the book. Hopefully, sometime I have it through. It's hard. I mean, it may be easy to some folks, but it's hard trying to put this information together in the right way I want to put it out. So still be on the lookout for my book, Overstanding the Raw and his many manifestation. If you want to check out what the book is, actually some of the stuff in the book and the chapters in the book, you can go to on Mossi Warrior Clan and look at. I don't know the name of the video, but it's dealing. I think Ra is the most revered deity in Kemet. So I give you a lot of information that's dealing with the book, a lot of primary information, the different manifestations of Ra. It's a lot of information in there. So check out that one. You know, hopefully it'll hold you over until I get through with the book. So I've been working on it. So hopefully I have it out soon. I don't want to give no date because I don't want to let nobody down. Because some days I work on it and some days I don't. But hopefully it'll be out sometime in 2020. Hopefully by February, hopefully. But don't count me on that. So I'm working. Also, please go check out. Also, we publish articles, so please go check out Sean. Sean, what's the name of your website where your articles on, man? Because we don't promote those writings we do enough, man. Before we get out, what is it?
Memoirs of a Nutu.
So go check that out, as well as Kofi Paisai Written Compositions website, where we publish articles. So we are writing articles as well. So please go and support. And again, Black African Power. And we'll see y'all next time, man. We out of here. I gotta go on here. Hold on.
Thanks for having me on. Peace.
Yeah, peace. Now I kind of crazy. Hold on. It's been a minute. I forgot what to do. Damn. Sure. Oh, never mind. I got it. Stop sharing first. Well, okay.